I travel from one world to another doing wholesale sales, and you call this the end of the world? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 The Clown in the World. What happened? Sui asked Sujiao. Xiaowei, who was standing beside him, reached out and pulled Fang Kaiokio over. Brother, Kaiokio and I were standing here quietly. A group of them came over and chased us away. That's fine. We were a little slow to give way, so she pushed us. I just pushed her back. Who knew she was so weak inside that she fell to the ground all of a sudden? We all said sorry to her, but they still insisted on us kneeling down and kowtowed before they let us go. Sujiao told this story impartially. Huh? Who are you? You are so arrogant and domineering. Do your family members know? Sui's face suddenly turned cold when he heard this. Oh, you don't even recognize our Zhuangxun. You are such a country bumpkin, you don't even use the internet or your mobile phone, the sissy next to him immediately said to Sui in a weird tone. Go away. I don't talk to people who are neither male nor female. Sui frowned. What the hell is this? It's so disgusting. You bastard, Zhuangxun, you have to make the decision for me. The sissy was so angry that her face turned pale. She turned around and went to her master to cry. Okay, let me vent your anger for you. Zhuangxun patted the sissy's arm to comfort her. You are maliciously discriminating. My people have just recorded the video. I have millions of fans. As long as you post the video online, no matter who you are, I will make you lose your reputation. Zhuangxun looked at Sui with a playful look on his face. Is it great to have fans? Try to post one. Sui didn't care and said coldly. Zhuangxun, why are you still here? Boss Mu is waiting anxiously. At this moment, a woman in a business suit and slippers ran over with a briefcase under her arm. This person was Lu Jin, the agent of the big internet celebrity Zhuangxun. Sister Lu, it's not that I don't want to go, but someone doesn't want me to go. Zhuangxun was not in a hurry at all, looking at Sui in front of him and said slowly. Who doesn't want you to go? Lu Jin was furious. This is going to cause trouble. Sister Lu, it was the few of them who deliberately blocked it, not only pushed Sister Tan down, but also insulted me, the sissy immediately complained. Who are you? Although Lu Jin was full of anger, she still held back and didn't vent it. At this time, she hoped that less trouble would be better than more trouble. Signing a contract and making money is the most important thing. Are you a policeman? Why should I answer? Sui answered the question with a look of I don't care about you. This person came without asking the reason for the matter, and he looked like he was going to blame the culprit. It is estimated that he is not much better on weekdays. Zhuangxun, let's go. Lu Jin wanted to pull Zhuangxun up and leave, and then deal with this ignorant boy after the contract was signed. Apologize, but Zhuangxun didn't mean to leave at all. What? Lu Jin thought she had heard it wrong. Apologize? If they don't kneel down and apologize today, I'll stay here. Zhuangxun acted like a big shot. Lu Jin wanted to slap her twice. Wouldn't it be great to endorse a product worth millions? What's the point of entangled with a young boy here? Manager Lu, what are you doing? A middle-aged male voice came over when the two sides were deadlocked. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a middle-aged man with gray hair walking over with the support of several young men. He was wearing black swimming trunks and a white bath towel. Needless to say, he was the boss Mu mentioned by Lu Jin. He couldn't wait in the VIP room and walked out by himself. Boss Mu, sorry, there was a little problem, Lu Jin said with a smile on her face. Little problem? Do you need help? Boss Mu's eyes lit up when he saw Zhuangxun in a swimsuit. It was like an old cat finding a salted fish. No. I can handle it, you guys, why don't you chase them away? Lu Jin immediately shouted at Zhuangxun's bodyguards. Crackling. Bang! A burst of fist shadows intersected, so fast that even Lu Jin's expression did not change. 7 or 8 bodyguards were lying on the ground. Sui stopped punching in front of everyone's surprised eyes. These people were just ordinary people, obviously hired to pretend. Is this place yours? Try to chase another one away, Sui said calmly. Lu Jin was stunned. She didn't expect to meet a master. Sissy, Zhuangxun and others couldn't help but feel scared. Haha, Manager Lu, do you need help now? Boss Mew on the side smiled. It can be seen that Su Wei is a martial artist, but his bodyguards are not cheap ones. They are all experts hired at high salaries. Lu Jin and others were delighted to hear this. Boss Mew is a local snake in Zhejiang. There is no reason why he can't handle it on his territory. Boss Mew, are you sure you want to wade into this muddy water? At this time, Xia Wei, who was standing with several women, spoke up. She knew this Boss Mew. His name was Mu Zubio, the big boss of a domestic smartphone manufacturer. His brand was called Noble, which sold well. He had once gone to Zui Group to find Xia Wei, hoping to get some hydrogen batteries and hydrogen-based chips. Unfortunately, Zui was mainly supplied by Huaiao at that time, and there was no extra production capacity to supply him for the time being. Huh? President Xia. Mu Zubio looked in the direction of the voice and was so shocked that his eyes almost popped out. When he saw her standing behind the young man, his face changed slightly. Could he be the rumored young and mysterious boss of Zui? Aha! President Xia came to Zhejiang. Why didn't you notify Mu? You might as well show your hospitality as a host. Mu Zubio's reaction was really fast, and he turned into a flattering smile in seconds. Lu Jin and others on the side looked even uglier. They didn't expect that the other party's light words would scare Mu Zubio, a local snake. He is Mu Zubio, the boss of Noble Wisdom. Xia Wei approached Su Wei and said. Such an intimate action made Mu Zubio more certain of his guess. Could this be Mr. Su? Welcome, welcome, it's a great honor to meet you today. Mu Zubio quickly extended his right hand to Su Wei. I dare not. If I offend Mr. Mu's distinguished guest, I don't know how much he hates me in his heart, Su Wei said indifferently, with his hands behind his back, without any intention of shaking hands. I think Director Su has misunderstood. They are not my guests, you are my honored guest, Mu Zubio said to Su Wei with a smile, and then pointed at Zuixun and others and said to his men, come on, kick them out. Boss Mu, you can't do this. After all, our Xintu Entertainment Company has cooperated with Noble Zixun for so many years. Lu Jin's face was gloomy. She was kicked out like this, didn't she have any face? Why so much nonsense? Just get out if I tell you to. In addition, I will say one more thing. Noble Zixun will never cooperate with you again in the future, Mu Zubio said with a tough face. Lu Jin was so angry that her face turned pale. What do you mean by me? Leave quickly, otherwise it will be ugly if we tear our faces apart later, Mu Zubio threatened. Humph, let's go. Lu Jin turned around and left, but before leaving, she looked at Su Wei hatefully, as if she wanted to reflect his face in her mind. Zuangxun and the others followed dejectedly, but the bodyguards felt sorry for them, lying on the ground pretending to be dead. Chapter 152 Finals. Xintu Entertainment. Su Wei looked at the other party's eyes when he left, and there was obviously no regret. If that was the case, he would make the other party heartbroken. Boss Su, don't worry too much. A brokerage company that started with artists has several internet celebrities worth millions to tens of millions. It has a certain influence on public opinion, but it is very limited. Boss Su should be careful of a man named Mr. Liu, who is the financial backer behind Xintu, Mu Zubio explained with sincerity. Thank you, Boss Mu, Su Wei nodded and said. As the saying goes, don't hide a smiling person. This guy's way of showing kindness is simply perfect, making it difficult for people to refuse. No way, Boss Su, it's better to meet by chance than to invite each other. I will host you at the Haoding Hotel tonight. Please come. Mu Zubio took the opportunity to invite him. Now he is trying to curry favor with a lot of people from Zui Electronics. It can be regarded as a great gift from God to meet the big boss of Zui in his own hotel. Thank you, but I'm afraid not tonight. My friend is participating in the finals of Xianlei Sound, and we are all here to cheer him on. Su Wei shook his head and refused. It's okay. To be honest with Mr. Su, Noble Zixun is also a sponsor of Xianlei Sound. How about going together tonight? Mu Zubio couldn't help but look disappointed when he heard Su Wei's refusal, but when he heard the reason for the refusal, he couldn't help but smile again. This is not a sleepy bump into the pillow. At that time, the strength of Noble Zixun will be demonstrated, and Su Wei's friend will win a championship or something. Isn't it another opportunity to show goodwill? Okay, Su Wei nodded helplessly and agreed. This guy is not bad at clinging. So, Su Wei and his group were invited by Mu Zubio to the VIP room to rest. However, Mu Zubio did not mention hydrogen batteries and hydrogen-based chips at all, and only chatted with Su Wei about all sorts of things, mostly introducing the scenery and culture of Zhuchen. It looks like an old friend meeting for many years. However, this is his brilliance. If you talk about rewards after giving some benefits casually, it is easy to arouse others' disgust. Only when the relationship has advanced to a certain level, will it be a natural thing to talk about things. Su Wei was not idle either. While chatting with Mu Zubio, he asked the artificial intelligence in the smart bracelet to search for relevant information about Zintu Entertainment. As Mu Zubio said, Zintu is not too large in scale, with a market valuation of several billion. It has dozens of artists and internet celebrities. These days, internet celebrities have risen rapidly. Zintu has made a lot of money by poaching and gathering more than a dozen internet celebrities. This time, it is hoped that Zhuangxun can get some endorsements from Noble Zixin. With the rise of Huaio, the sales of domestic smartphones of other brands have dropped sharply, and they have to think of ways to open up sales. Internet celebrities bringing goods has become a trend, relying on the influence of internet celebrities on fans to achieve the purpose of sales. But compared with Huawei Electronics, it is nothing. Therefore, Mu Zubio chose to stand on Su Wei's side without hesitation. If they have hydrogen batteries and hydrogen-based chips, they can be as powerful as Huaio. But at least they can be regarded as the second largest company in China. Interestingly, Zintu Entertainment is actually a listed company. So the long-dormant Gold Digger 2.0 was awakened again. However, this time Su Wei did not use his own account directly, but used the overseas account from last time to carry out the strangulation plan. He entered the code of Zintu Entertainment and then injected funds. The Gold Digger immediately bought Zintu Entertainment gradually according to Su Wei's instructions, slowly raising the stock price of Zintu Entertainment. The rising momentum of the stock price made the people of Zintu Entertainment very happy, which meant that more and more people supported Zintu, and it also meant that Zintu could use more funds for development. Near the afternoon closing, Zintu Entertainment's first day of daily limit. For this reason, the senior management of Zintu Entertainment also held a small cocktail party to celebrate. Lu Jin, who was far away in Zhuchen, also received the news that the company's stock price had reached the daily limit. She also had some company stocks in her hands. This daily limit was equivalent to earning hundreds of thousands of yuan in one day. This news made the angry Lu Jin feel a little relieved. Zhuangxun, who is that guy today? Lu Jin asked Lu Mili in a business car. Sister Lu, we don't know either. The conflict started because his sister pushed Sister Tan down, the sissy explained with her orchid fingers. There are not many people who can make Mu Zubio surrender, but this guy is too young? Lu Jin looked puzzled. This time she suffered a loss without knowing why. Sister Lu, no matter who he is, just tell Mr. Liu and ask him to send someone to clean him up, Zhuangxun said indifferently. So what if he can fight? Mr. Liu is a person who knows everything. Do you need to tell me that? Send me his photo. Lu Jin rolled her eyes at Zhuangxun. A big-breasted and brainless guy is only fit to warm someone's bed. As they talked, the car arrived at another hotel. They originally lived in the Grand Court Hotel, but were kicked out by Mu Zubio. When they thought about this, they got angry. They hastily booked a few rooms and went back to rest. In the evening, Su Wei and others got on the hotel's luxury business car and drove to the largest Wangxin Stadium in Zhuchen. The finals of Xianlei Ziyan were held here, and it was crowded. After all, it was such an honor to witness the rise of a new star. With the internal tickets given by He Shuang and Mu Zubio's face card, Su Wei and others entered the venue smoothly and sat in the front rows of seats, where they could enjoy the scenery of the central stage. This time, the big stage was built in the center of the stadium, 5 or 6 meters above the ground. The backstage was set up under the stage, exposing the entire stage to the audience around. The contestants took the lifting device to get on and off the stage, which was very cool. Yo, isn't this Mr. Su from Ziwei Group? Not long after the few people sat down, a weird voice came from the side. Su Wei turned around and saw that it was Zhang Nianlin from Helen International and his assistant Liu Bowen. Behind them were several middle-aged men who looked either rich or noble. Manager Zhang, long time no see. Hey, how come you picked up the trash again? Su Wei said with a smile as he looked at Liu Bowen behind Zhang Nianlin. You. Liu Bowen was so angry that his face turned red. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to rush forward, but was stopped by Zhang Nianlin. Su Wei, we will never forget the humiliation you brought to Helen International. Watch carefully, today is just a lesson. Zhang Nianlin smiled brightly. After that, he asked everyone to sit down, and the seats were right next to Su Wei and the others. It was clear that he wanted to watch their show. Humph, you want to play dirty with me? Su Wei snorted coldly, turned to Muzu Bao and said, "Give me a list of judges." "No problem." Chapter 153 Kneeling. Dear audience friends, welcome to this year's Xianlei Sound. With the appearance of the host, the annual Xianlei Sound Finals officially kicked off. The opening remarks alone aroused the audience's enthusiasm and cheers. Xianlei Sound has a tradition, that is, at the beginning of the finals, the champion of the previous session will be invited to perform famous songs on stage. This is a respect for the predecessors and an encouragement to the newcomers. This is also the original intention of Xianlei Sound, hoping that the waves behind will push the waves ahead, and each generation will be stronger than the previous one. The first to come on stage was the champion of Xianlei Sound last year, a girl group called Romantic Summer. All of them are young and beautiful, with thin waists and long legs, and they can sing and dance well. The opening was a king bomb, which directly pushed the atmosphere of the venue to a climax. Mr. Zhang, although this Romantic Summer sings the same song and dances the same dance, it is completely new after being packaged by Helen International compared with last year, a middle-aged man who came with Zhang Nianlin exclaimed. That's right, this temperament and figure are almost as good as those of first-line stars, another middle-aged man agreed. I think this year's championship is in jeopardy. With such an explosive opening, who else can surpass it? A middle-aged man said with regret. They are all the heads of Helen International's subsidiaries and investment companies, so naturally they wear the same pants as Zhang Nianlin. The voices were intentionally or unintentionally directed to Su Wei and his team, and it was obviously meant for them to hear. Su Jiao and others were naturally very angry when they heard this, but Su Wei raised his hand to block them. What's the point of arguing with these people? They are just other people's dogs. If a dog barks, do you have to bark back? Facing the other parties in direct criticism, Su Wei turned a deaf ear and concentrated on operating his mobile phone. In fact, he was giving orders to the artificial intelligence in the smart bracelet to directly search for detailed information on the judges of this session. This search was not an ordinary search, but a hacker attack. Not only did they hack into their communication system, but they also hacked into their bank accounts and even various monitoring systems. Artificial intelligence is so powerful that it is invincible in modern times. Su Wei can retrieve the information he wants without restraint. The singing and dancing of just a few minutes ended quickly, and Romantic Summer gave a speech on the stage and encouraged today's contestants. But the enthusiastic audience was not satisfied and shouted loudly for another one. It was hard to refuse the kindness, so Romantic Summer sang another newly released song, and posed on the stage with his sultry music. It made people feel as if they were instantly on the beach with beautiful women, a well-deserved Romantic Summer. The audience was like chicken blood, shouting and releasing their inner passion. As a result, at the request of the audience, Romantic Summer performed one after another, and turned the Xianlei Sound competition side into a special performance of Romantic Summer. The audience was so excited that they didn't even remember that this was the competition site, and they thought it was changed to a Romantic Summer concert. Seeing that the time was about to pass halfway, Su Wei couldn't help but frown slightly. If Angel Studio didn't even have the opportunity to go on stage, this matter would be really difficult to handle. Zhang Nianlin and Liu Bowen on the side looked at Su Wei provocatively. It was obvious that this was the result of Helen International's manipulation behind the scenes. Don't worry, Brother Su, I'll ask someone to urgent. Muzu Bao on the side naturally would not miss such an opportunity and immediately sent someone to find the organizer. He is also a major sponsor, and the organizer has to give him some face. Soon, the matter came to a conclusion. The host came on stage to cover up, so that the audience could let go of the Romantic Summer and enter the official stage of the finals. The contestants performed on stage, and then the judges on the rostrum gave a score, and then the audience on site and online could vote for the contestants through an app. The combined score of the two is the final score of the contestant. As expected, the first contestant was a cold audience. Although he sang well and wrote good original songs, the judges gave a good score. But the audience has already developed aesthetic fatigue and gave a historically low score. As a result, the final score of the first contestant was only at the mid-level. The second and third place contestants also suffered a cold audience. After all, compared to Romantic Summer, they are all novices and lack experience in how to control such a huge stage. In comparison, They seemed even more unbearable. There were even voices of abuse from the audience, and it felt that today's contestants were the worst ever. The third contestant lost his mind because of the abuse from the audience, and ran off the stage crying before he even finished singing the song. The competition has now entered the most embarrassing stage. Whether it is on-site or online, the audience's abuse is increasing. If there were no security personnel to maintain order on the scene, some people would have rushed to the stage to beat up the contestants. Seeing this result, the smiles on Zhang Nianlin and Liu Bowen's faces became even stronger. Because the next person to appear is Yishuang Shuang from Angel Studio. If she appears when everyone's anger is at its highest, she will easily be blown to pieces. This is not just as simple as losing a championship, it will be a disgrace for thousands of years. Even if Angel Studio develops in the future, it will not be able to cover up this stain. Hey, Su Wei, enjoy the scene of your lover being torn apart by public anger. You are all too young to play with me, Zhang Nianlin said to Su Wei with a haughty look. Really? It is still unknown who will win, Su Wei smiled calmly. He had 100% confidence in the angel. How could a divine song that has been popular for hundreds of years be famous in vain? Humph, I think you're just stubborn. Liu Bowen pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and sneered at Su Wei. Dear audience, there may be a surprise next. That is the most popular contestant in the semi-finals, Angel Studio. Can they turn the tide? Let's wait and see. Next, please welcome Angel Studio from Huatou City. They are bringing the original song Angel. The host seemed to be warming up the audience, but in fact he pushed Angel Studio again and put it on the fire. With a swish, the lights in the whole venue were turned off. A spot of light lit up in the center of the big stage, and the lifting device slowly rose, and the spot of light slowly bloomed like a white lotus. Yishuang Shuang, who was wearing a snow-white dress and a dazzling crown, was directly bathed in the pure white holy light. With an extremely pure face and innocent temperament, she looked like an angel who had fallen to the earth. The melodious prelude sounded, and immediately attracted everyone's attention. Snow-white wings, perfect face. In an instant, I was captured by Yishuang Shuang's ethereal voice with a low cry immediately pulled everyone into a space of infinite reverie. The smoke of the battlefield, the brilliance of magic, the roar of the devil, everything was vivid, and people couldn't help but think of their parents, companions, comrades in arms, and lovers. The graceful voice rose without warning, performing a high note that made people's scalps numb. Suddenly, it was like a ray of light descending from the sky, healing the battlefield, destroying magic, and sealing the devil. At this moment, all negative emotions dissipated with the song, and the angry audience gradually returned to reason, and then immersed themselves in the song. Even Zhang Nianlin and others went from being dismissive at the beginning, to being shocked, and then to being obsessed. Chapter 154 Exposing. The song lasted more than 5 minutes and passed in a flash, but everyone had forgotten everything. The song was in their eyes, ears, and hearts. In the stadium with 10,000 people, it was so quiet that no one could make a sound. Even the host forgot his duties and stood there quietly, not daring to make any sound, as if he was afraid of disturbing the lingering sound. Good, I don't know how long it took, and I don't know who started it, but there was only one voice in the whole audience, that is, the word good. Because no other word can express the true thoughts of everyone at the moment so directly. Good, it is good. The audience was boiling like a tsunami, and the internet was also full of waves. The Angel song video recorded on the spot instantly became popular on the internet, and even spread to foreign countries in a blink of an eye. Almost everyone loves it after listening to it. Before the judges on the scene gave their scores, the online voting directly broke the highest score in history, and it was still rising wildly. There is no doubt that this will become an existence that can never be surpassed. Angel, Angel, Shuang Shuang, Shuang Shuang, thunderous roars echoed over the stadium, as if she had already won the championship, as if the Heavenly Voice finals had ended. Backstage, there were 2 more contestants preparing to go on stage. Seeing this, their faces turned green. Let alone whether their songs could compare to Yishuang Shuang's Angel, just based on the enthusiasm of the audience, whoever went on stage would be dead. At this moment, even most of the judges on the jury were on pins and needles, and they couldn't give a score for a long time. Zhang Nianlin and others in the stands turned pale, looking at Su Wei with eyes that wanted to eat him alive. Finally, Zhang Nianlin made a phone call to stabilize his emotions. Dear audience friends, please give our judges some time. Seeing the audience gradually getting more and more agitated, the host immediately jumped out to buy time for the judges. Several judges whispered to each other and finally showed the scoreboard at the same time. Wow, the whole audience was shocked when they saw the scores. Except for the 2 judges who gave the highest scores, the rest of the judges all gave the lowest scores. As a result, Shuang's scores were greatly reduced. I'm testing, is this a score given by a human? There must be a conspiracy. The moment the scores were announced, the audience was instantly furious. Please be patient, the judges are scoring from a professional perspective, so please trust the judges. The host was still trying to save the situation, but a slipper flew from nowhere and hit his face, leaving a black shoe print in an instant. Especially the mouth, which was swollen. Oh my god, the host felt like he was in agony. The key point was that the smell was too strong, as if it had been worn for centuries without being washed. Oh yeah, you are such a jerk. Seeing the host's embarrassed appearance, the audience felt very happy. Professional S. It sounds good, so why are there so many rotten reasons? Please calm down. If there are any more troublemakers, Angel Studios' results tonight will be invalidated and they will be eliminated passively. A judge couldn't help but stand up and speak. This immediately aroused even stronger anger among the audience, but considering the results of Angel Studio, the complaints were obviously much smaller. The competition continued. The remaining 2 contestants tried their best to save the situation. Especially the last one, whose strength was basically the same as Shuang. But with the addition of Angel's song, her original song was eclipsed. But the judges gave the 2 a score that exceeded Angel Studio. Especially the last one, 80% of the judges gave full marks. In this way, even if the audience votes are not counted, her score will be higher than Angel Studio. The main reason is that the judges' scores account for 80%, while the audience votes only account for 20%. Therefore, the audience's dissatisfaction cannot change the score. The darkest inside story in history, the scene of a large-scale competition overturning, such barrages instantly filled the major live broadcast rooms. The audience booed, but they could not influence the process of the competition, and they would soon enter the award ceremony. If nothing unexpected happens, the most popular Angel Studio will not even get the 3rd place. Suwei, take your little lover home to sing, don't come out and embarrass yourself again. Seeing that the victory was about to end, Zhang Nianlin looked at Suwei with a smug look on his face and said, "Don't panic, it's not over yet." Suwei was not angry at all, and still looked calm. In front of Zhang Nianlin and Liu Bowen, he took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. "Let's start." Suwei only said 3 words and hung up the phone. For some reason, Zhang Nianlin's heart suddenly tightened, as if he had a premonition that something bad was going to happen. "Humph, pretending. I'm watching you." Liu Bowen looked sarcastic, but before he could finish his words, the big screen and all the headlights in the stadium were suddenly turned on, and the dazzling light flashed across the venue, attracting everyone's attention. At the same time, it also interrupted the award ceremony that was about to take place. Do you want to know why the scoring is so unfair? Please look at the big screen. A burst of electronic synthesized sound rang out. A list of names suddenly appeared on the big screen. It was the list of judges for this competition. Then, several bank account information appeared. According to the list of judges, 80% of the judges' accounts had recently received an anonymous remittance of hundreds of thousands of yuan. The same amount and the same date were specially marked, and the meaning couldn't be more obvious. Then, several surveillance videos and phone recordings were exposed. They were all information about several judges accepting bribes and not letting Angel Studio win the award. When these materials were exposed, they instantly set off the whole audience. The media reporters who heard the news were all crazy with joy. They raised their long guns and short guns and took a lot of pictures at the big screen. The live broadcast was directly connected to the radio station to broadcast everything on the scene. The ratings and click-through rates soared. Zhang Nianlin and Liu Bowen looked at all this and their faces changed drastically. How did he do it? It is absolutely impossible to obtain so much evidence in such a short time. This means that Suwei was collecting evidence long before the competition. Predicting the future, such an opponent is really terrible. No, it's not true, this is slander. The judges who were exposed could not sit still and jumped out to defend themselves. Unfortunately, who would care about them at this time? Angel Studio hereby solemnly announces that it will withdraw from the Xianlei sound competition. The behavior of the judges has seriously tarnished the spirit of the competition and the dreams of musicians. They are not worthy of the word music at all at this time. He Shuang grabbed the microphone and loudly announced that she would withdraw from the competition. This move immediately won the strong support of the audience. Although Angel Studio did not win the championship, in people's hearts, Angel Studio is the well-deserved and crowned king. Immediately afterwards, 2 judges who gave Angel Studio full marks also announced their withdrawal from Cheyenne Sound. Some studios followed suit. For a time, Cheyenne Sound became the target of public criticism and caught fire everywhere. Chapter 155, Fire. Mr. Zhang, I'm sorry to disappoint you again. At this point, the incident was no longer suspenseful. Su Wei clapped his hands and stood up, as if he had done something insignificant. Zhang Nianlin's face was livid with anger, but he had no words to say. The raised hand could only fall down dejectedly. Su Wei's stabbing was fierce and accurate, which completely ruined the famous Cheyenne Heian. Even if a huge amount of money was spent on public relations afterwards, it would not be possible to restore it to its former glory. The myth of creating a star ended here, and it would also end up with a bad reputation for thousands of years. In vain, Su Wei greeted everyone and turned to leave. Let the rest of the things ferment naturally, and there will definitely be some unexpected results. Asshole, Liu Bowen punched the chair hard, blood flowed, but he didn't feel any pain at all, and his eyes were full of hatred. Humph, victory and defeat are common in the military, and this has just begun, Zhang Nianlin stood up and said calmly. He underestimated Su Wei and didn't expect that he had these tricks, but next time, it won't be so easy. After saying that, Zhang Nianlin left without looking back. Others also stood up and left, leaving Liu Bowen alone standing in the stands, staring at He Shuang who was being interviewed by reporters on the stage. He Shuang and others didn't return to the Haoding Hotel until late at night. Although they were very tired, everyone was in high spirits. After this incident, Angel Studio became completely popular, and it was a mess. Commercial performances, advertisements, authorizations, etc. flew in like snowflakes. Many entertainment companies wanted to sign He Shuang and offered sky-high signing fees. Unfortunately, this was impossible. He Shuang wanted to expand her own studio and become Su Wei's right-hand man, and she would never rely on others. Without Su Wei's instructions, Muzubao ordered people to prepare a sumptuous midnight snack to celebrate the triumph of Angel Studio. He Shuang was so excited that she flew around like a lark. In the end, she successfully got herself drunk. Su Wei had to send her back to the room and leave her to Mei Huangfang and others to take care of her. The elders were all at home, so Su Wei couldn't go to find Xiao Wei, and could only fall asleep alone in the hotel. The next day, Su Wei slept until noon before getting up. After all, it was a vacation, so he didn't have to think about anything. He wanted to eat and have fun. But when he walked out of the room and took a look around, he found that Grandpa Su and Grandpa He went to play chess, and his parents continued to take pictures. Even Xiao Wei took Su Jiao and Fang Kaiokio to the beach to surf. It seemed that only He Shuang and others who were the most tired and drank the most last night hadn't gotten up yet. Su Wei walked to the presidential suite where He Shuang was. After knocking on the door, Mei Hongfang came to open the door. "Boss, you're here at the right time. Shuang has a severe headache." As soon as the door opened, Mei Hongfang felt like she had seen a savior. "Oh, what's wrong? Are you sick?" Su Wei looked concerned. "Maybe he drank too much last night. Although red wine has a low alcohol content, it makes you feel worse when you're drunk." Mei Hongfang led Su Wei to the master bedroom. "Sister Mei, you guys go eat first. I don't have much appetite." After opening the door, he heard He Shuang's lazy voice coming from the big bed. "Oh, I see. Then you have a good rest." Mei Hongfang suppressed her laughter, gave Su Wei a look, and immediately left the room and closed the door. Su Wei smiled bitterly and shook his head, then walked inside. The air was filled with a fragrance similar to that of jasmine. A white foot at the foot of the bed was sometimes tense and sometimes loose, as if it was enduring unbearable pain. Looking up, he saw He Shuang lying on her back on the big bed, one hand grasping the quilt, the other hand covering her forehead, with an expression of unbearable pain on her face. "Shuang," Su Wei hurriedly called softly. "Ah, why are you here? Where are Sister Mei and the others?" He Shuang opened her eyes quickly and saw Su Wei standing in front of the bed. She couldn't help blushing and curled up in the quilt. "I came to see you. They all went out to eat. Are you hungry? Do you want to order something to eat?" Su Wei asked with concern. "No, Just a little headache. He Shuang covered herself in the quilt. Let me see. Well, it doesn't look like anything. Maybe you drank too much last night. Su Wei reached out and gently stroked He Shuang's forehead. There was no sign of fever. If I had known that being drunk would be so uncomfortable, I wouldn't have drunk, He Shuang said with a look of grievance. This was the first time she had drunk too much since she was a child. Come and drink this. It's better to suffer a short pain than a long one. From now on, it will be difficult for you to get drunk, Su Wei said as he took out a strengthening potion. Is this bitter? He Shuang looked at the potion and couldn't help but say in fear. Girls have a natural phobia of drugs. It's not bitter, not hard to drink at all, and it's a little sweet, Su Wei coaxed. Really? He Shuang was still a little unconvinced. Come on, open your mouth. Su Wei directly opened the lid and brought it to He Shuang's mouth. Gulp. After 2 or 3 gulps, the entire potion fell into He Shuang's stomach. It's indeed not hard to drink, and it's really a little sweet. Soon, the heart-wrenching pain swept over, so fast that both of them were a little unprepared. Fortunately, Su Wei was an experienced person, and he quickly comforted the frightened He Shuang and held her hands to encourage her. After nearly half an hour, He Shuang felt that the pain disappeared, and instead, her whole body was relaxed. Even the hangover headache disappeared without a trace. She just sweated all over, and her clothes stuck to her body, which was really uncomfortable. Su Wei, can you go out and wait for me? He Shuang said with blushing cheeks. She was only wearing a short-sleeved shirt and shorts now. How could she meet people? Okay, I'll wait for you in the living room. Su Wei understood immediately, got up and left the room, and thoughtfully closed the door after leaving. He Shuang couldn't bear it any longer, and rushed into the bathroom. Soon, the sound of running water was heard. When the dirt was washed away, He Shuang found that her skin became as smooth as milk, and her figure had changed a lot. The bear who used to be inferior has now stood up. Although it can't reach the overlord level, it is much better than before. These discoveries made He Shuang pleasantly surprised. After putting on her clothes, He Shuang immediately ran out to find Su Wei, turned around in front of him, and was a beautiful girl. Su Wei, who feasted his eyes, naturally gave 2 thumbs up and praised him generously. Gugu at this time, He Shuang's belly protested, making He Shuang blush in excitement. Come on, I'll take you to a big meal. Su Wei was not surprised. After strengthening, the body lacked energy and needed a lot of food to replenish it. It was normal to be hungry. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. The time has not come yet. The two walked hand in hand to the hotel restaurant. There is a 24-hour buffet here. On the way here, Su Wei had already told He Shuang about the changes in his body after the enhancement, as well as the precautions. So, He Shuang turned into a beautiful butterfly, dancing among the food, and enjoying the feast. Huh? I've never eaten so much before, it's so satisfying. An hour later, He Shuang held her belly with both hands and sighed. Just now, she ate several times more food than before, but her belly didn't bulge at all, and her appetite was still good. This made her completely believe what Su Wei said, you won't get fat no matter how much you eat. Eat whatever you want, the food will be converted into energy and won't become fat, or you can say that the more you eat, the better your figure. Su Wei smiled and whispered. Really? He Shuang's eyes lit up. It's more real than real gold and silver. Su Wei patted his chest and promised. No, I need to take a break, otherwise I might get tired of the food. He Shuang thought for a while and shook her head. Although she wouldn't get fat, she would still get sick of the same taste if she ate too much. Well, I'll get some drinks and fruits. What do you want to drink? Su Wei asked. Lemonade, thank you. He Shuang didn't like things with strong flavors, except for desserts, of course. Okay, wait. After patting He Shuang's little hand, Su Wei got up and walked towards the food area. Not long after Su Wei left, a person came into the restaurant, wearing a decent professional suit, a pair of black stockings, and a pair of rose-red high heels. There was also a briefcase under her armpit. This dress was Lu Jin, the celebrity agent who was driven away from here yesterday. She looked around the restaurant and quickly locked onto He Shuang's table. As a senior agent, she naturally had her own channels to obtain information. "Hello, Miss He Shuang." Lu Jin quickly came to He Shuang in 2 steps. "Hello. Who are you?" He Shuang turned her eyes away from her phone and found a strange woman in front of her. "I'm Lu Jin, the agent of Zintu Entertainment. Here's my business card." Lu Jin took out an exquisite business card from her bag and handed it over with both hands. "Oh, thank you, but I'm sorry, I don't have any intention of signing a contract." He Shuang took the business card politely, but she had already refused directly. "Ms. He, do you know our Zintu Entertainment Company?" Lu Jin didn't intend to give up, and asked with a smile on her face. "No, I don't want to know, thank you," He Shuang replied impatiently. "Ms. He, don't be in a hurry to refuse. Our new picture has great potential. Most importantly, we are very optimistic about Miss He's prospects, so no matter what you ask for, no matter how high the signing fee is, we will try our best to meet it. Besides, you see, our company's stock has been rising for 2 consecutive days, and the company's market value is also rushing towards 10 billion. I believe it will soon be among the first-tier brands. When the time comes, we will definitely make you a superstar and go to the world," Lu Jin said while taking out her mobile phone to show He Shuang the company's stock. Today's stock rose faster than yesterday. "Ms. Lu, life is full of encounters." At this time, Su Wei, who was holding drinks and fruits, came back and heard Lu Jin smug about the company's stock surge. "It's you?" Lu Jin turned around and saw Su Wei holding drinks and fruits. She was shocked, but soon showed a look of disgust. "Of course it's me. You are blatantly poaching my girlfriend here. Is this really okay?" Su Wei said, putting down the things in his hands and sitting down. "She's yours." Lu Jin was even more surprised. How could such a coincidence happen? "Why can't I?" Su Wei smiled inexplicably. He Shuang, who was standing by, picked up a piece of fruit and fed it to Su Wei. "Well, it's fragrant and sweet, so delicious." Su Wei looked at He Shuang and said, "If it's delicious, eat more." Although He Shuang was a little shy, she still picked up the fruit and fed him. Lu Jin felt that her mouth was forced to be full of dog food. "It's too bullying. Goodbye." Lu Jin turned around and left. "Goodbye. By the way, let me remind you that the stock market is risky, and you need to be cautious when entering the market," Su Wei said to Lu Jin's back with a playful smile. Lu Jin walked faster after hearing this. "Do you know each other?" After Lu Jin left, He Shuang asked curiously. "There was a little friction yesterday," Su Wei said, recounting what happened yesterday. "I see, it's really annoying. Do you think you're great just because you have some fans?" He Shuang was also very angry after hearing this. "Okay. It's all over. Don't be angry, God is watching what you do. Good and evil will be rewarded. It's not that there is no reward, but the time has not come yet," Su Wei consoled with a smile on his face. Just when Su Wei and He Shuang were chatting happily, Lu Jin walked out of the restaurant, but she didn't leave immediately. Instead, she hid in a corner and took a few photos of Su Wei and He Shuang with her mobile phone. Both the angle and the timing were well grasped, just in time to capture the very close relationship between the two. Then, she swaggered out of the Haoding Hotel. When she came to the street, Lu Jin sent the photos to Mr. Liu. In less than a minute, Lu Jin's phone rang. "Hello, Mr. Liu." After Lu Jin adjusted her mood, she pressed the answer button. "Lu Jin, what do you mean by these photos?" A cold male voice came from the phone. "Sir, this He Shuang is obviously already in a relationship, and she refused to sign the contract outright, and had no intention of negotiating at all." Lu Jin reported the situation truthfully. As for the stock market risks that Su Wei mentioned, she simply understood that the other party was just teasing her. "Is it the man in the photo?" Mr. Liu was silent for a while, and asked in a cold voice. "Yes, he was also the one who messed up Wang Zuixun's contract yesterday." Lu Jin added more fuel to the fire. "Okay, I know about this, you can go and do other things first." Mr. Liu's voice could not tell whether he was happy or angry, but was a little low. "Okay, Mr. Liu." Lu Jin waited until the other party hung up the phone before she breathed a sigh of relief. No matter when, Mr. Liu gave her a lot of pressure. He let you live happily for 2 more days. If you dare to snatch the woman that Mr. Liu likes, you can wait for your mysterious disappearance. Lu Jin hung up the phone, took another look at the Grand Court Hotel, and then took a taxi with a happy face and left. Chapter 157 Night Visitor. Sui and his team were forced to terminate their trip after only 3 days in Suzhou. The main reason was that Shuang had more and more fans, and they all knew that Shuang lived in the Haoding Hotel, and they came to wait almost before dawn. Some internet celebrities also came to take advantage of the popularity, and with the paparazzi. The Haoding Hotel was almost surrounded by people. At first, Muzubao was quite happy. Haoding became a check-in point for internet celebrities, and its popularity rose sharply. But as time went on, it was overcrowded, which directly affected the normal operation of the hotel, and guests complained constantly. It gave Muzubao a headache. Fortunately, Sui and his team were overwhelmed and planned to leave early. So Muzubao sent them away from the back door overnight. Before leaving, he finally got his wish and got 10% of Zhuai Electronics orders. Let Noble Zixin become the second manufacturer in Xiaguo to have the right to use hydrogen batteries and hydrogen-based chips. This also indicates that Noble Zixin will become the second largest smartphone manufacturer in Xiaguo. Everyone secretly returned to Hudu City, but they didn't expect that there were also fans waiting at the airport. They quickly changed cars and took a long detour before returning to Yanshujian. Fortunately, there were enough security personnel dispatched this time, otherwise they would be a little tired to deal with it. After 3 days of running around, everyone was a little tired, so they went home to rest. When it was late at night, a black shadow suddenly sneaked into Yanshujian like a ghost. The black shadow was like a piece of paper blown by the wind, floating and coming straight to courtyard number 1. After looking around carefully, the black shadow prepared to enter the house. "Friend, you come uninvited, you are a thief." Suddenly a handsome voice sounded behind him, scaring the man to dodge violently, and kept changing his body shape in the air to prevent being attacked. However, when he landed, no one chased him. Looking up, I saw a young man in casual clothes standing outside the yard, looking at him with a smile. It was Sui. It turned out that not long after the shadow sneaked in, Chenlong and others discovered it from the surveillance. Seeing that it was extraordinary, they immediately notified Sui. Sui asked them to continue to stick to their posts to prevent others from making a feint to the east and attacking in the west. In order not to disturb his family, he climbed over the window to intercept it and caught up. "Are you Sui?" The voice of the person who came was hazy, and it was hard to tell whether he was a man, a woman, old or young, but the content of what he said could be heard clearly, which was obviously intentional. "Are you Kanjian?" Sui was stunned and asked. The other party shook his head. "Then who are you?" Sui was stunned again. "Young Master Liu asked me to take your head back," the shadow said coldly. Young Master Liu, Sui was confused. He didn't even know the other party, so why would he send someone to kill him? Wait? Young Master Liu? Could it be the financial backer behind Zintu Entertainment Company? Suddenly, Sui remembered that Muzubao had mentioned such a person to him. Have you figured it out? It doesn't matter if you don't. A dead person doesn't need to dwell on this. The black shadow said as he rushed towards Sui. Follow me if you can. Sui turned around and ran towards the back mountain, fearing that he would wake up his family. With the enhanced giant strength attribute, Sui's speed was not slow. The black shadow's advantage was his agility, and he chased Sui without any slack. In a few breaths, Sui ran to the forest behind Yanshujian. Few people came here during the day, and there were even fewer people at night. You have chosen a good place for yourself. Seeing Sui in front stopped, the black shadow also stopped, and did not forget to mock him with a hollow voice. Don't worry, I will burn 2 incense sticks for you on this day next year. Sui was not a pushover, and he immediately retorted. The other party exuded a strong aura, but he was not afraid at all, but full of expectations. HMPH, you can't save you with your sharp tongue? The black shadow said as he pulled out a sharp metal spike, which was half a meter long and completely black, without any reflection in the night. If you hadn't seen the posture of him pulling it out, you wouldn't have known that he had a weapon in his hand. Sui was not to be outdone. He waved his hands and activated a grip of death. His palms turned into a dark color in the blink of an eye. What's your relationship with the Iron Palm Gang? The black shadow was frightened by Sui's move and asked hurriedly. Iron Palm Gang? What the hell? I've only eaten teppanyaki. Sui was confused and didn't know what this guy was talking about. How dare you? The Black Shadow was furious when he heard this, and he stomped his feet and rushed forward. The spike in his hand pierced Su Wei's right eye. Cannon hammer. Su Wei did not retreat but advanced, punching the spike in the opponent's hand. He had absolute confidence in the strength of the grip of death. HMPH, ignorant, the Black Shadow said coldly in his heart, and the spike in his hand moved faster. Bang! The spike and the iron fist collided with each other, and a handful of sparks flew. The huge impact force made both of them retreat 2 or 3 steps. The Black Shadow took 2 steps, and Su Wei took 3 steps. In terms of cultivation, Su Wei was at a disadvantage. But the Black Shadow was not feeling well either, and his arm holding the spike was numb from the shock. This kid has great strength, the Black Shadow couldn't help but be surprised. He was a genius to be able to practice to this level just by relying on external martial arts. However, this was not enough. The Black Shadow's body movement speeded up instantly, and even an illusion appeared. One turned into 3, and attacked Su Wei at the same time. Heady at the same time, the Black Shadow's vague voice rang out from all directions, interfering with the audio and video, making it difficult to tell which one was real and which one was fake. Interesting, Su Wei's eyes lit up, and there was actually such a skill. No matter whether he was real or fake, just do it. Baji Zhen. A domineering energy surged out, and Su Wei punched the ground, shaking the sky and the earth. The Black Shadow was shaken before he got close, and it was difficult to maintain the stability of the phantom, revealing his true form. Now. 8 extreme collapse. The power that Su Wei had secretly accumulated exploded again, and his fist slammed into the Black Shadow with an unmatched force, with a faint roar of thunder. The Black Shadow was frightened and didn't understand why Su Wei's power suddenly increased by several levels. If this punch hit him, he would be crippled if not dead. He quickly pulled back, but at this moment, a nearly transparent light shield appeared silently behind him. The Black Shadow suddenly felt that he had hit something, and his scalp was numb with shock. But it was this imperceptible stagnation that made him lose the initiative. Su Wei's iron fist had already attacked his chest. Fight! A trace of ruthlessness flashed in the Black Shadow's eyes, and the spike in his hand quickly stabbed towards Su Wei's heart. This was a completely lose-lose style of fighting, but he had no choice at this moment. Hey, Su Wei showed a strange smile. It was impossible to die together. Force field shield. It instantly appeared at the position of Su Wei's heart, forming a heart-protecting mirror. Seeing that Su Wei did not dodge at all, the Black Shadow could not help but feel happy. In terms of speed, he was half a beat slower, but the length of his weapon was better than Su Wei, enough to make up for the gap, and perhaps he could be a little faster than Su Wei. Bang! Sure enough, the spikes reached Su Wei's chest first, but made a crisp sound, as if hitting metal. Oh no! I fell into a trap. Bang! This thought only flashed in the Black Shadow's mind, and his chest was hit by a solid punch. The powerful force instantly surged in and tore his heart veins. Puff! You are not from the Iron Palm Gang. The Black Shadow opened his eyes wide, as if he had seen something very shocking, but unfortunately he could no longer speak. His body fell into the grass like a tattered sack. Chapter 158 Liu's Residence. After confirming that the other party was dead, Su Wei reached out and pulled off the mask on the Black Shadow's face, revealing the face of a strange middle-aged man. This is a very popular appearance, and if placed in a crowd, it is basically the type that will not be noticed. Su Wei searched the Black Shadow again and found a dagger, some cash, and nothing else. However, Su Wei found a hand-painted snake-wrapped skull pattern in an inconspicuous place on his cuffs. Su Wei quickly took out his mobile phone to take a picture of it, and then got up and left. As for the body, Su Wei threw it into the storage space. After packing up everything, Su Wei left the back mountain and returned home to continue sleeping. The forest returned to its former tranquility. Rustle. Not long after, a figure appeared in the forest again, looking at the previous battle site with a thoughtful expression. The figure was a bald old man in a long gown and in high spirits. If it wasn't Mr. Su, who else could it be? When the shadow invaded, he discovered it immediately, but Su Wei's appearance prevented him from showing up for the time being. Then the two of them ran to the back mountain, and the old man followed them, but he didn't expect his grandson to be so fierce. Before he could get close, the battle was over. It was just that the enemy suddenly disappeared, leaving the old man puzzled. After confirming again and again, the old man quietly returned to the room, as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Su Wei found Chen Long and asked him to form a security team specifically responsible for Angel Studio. Now we must not only prevent the fanaticism of fans, but also beware of the dirty tricks of Mr. Liu. He had a hunch that Mr. Liu sent someone to kill him, and it should not be just the conflict that day. Lu Jin was willing to sign He Shuang at all costs, which can be seen from this point. Humph, since you are doing it on the first day, don't blame me for doing it on the 15th. After arranging Chen Long, Su Wei directly ordered the gold diggers to smash the stocks of Xintu Entertainment. After the rise in the past few days, the stock price of Xintu Entertainment has increased by 300%, scaring off many people, and even the top management of Xintu is a little panicked. But with a sharp operation and strong funds of the gold diggers, Xintu is powerless to resist. Now, Su Wei ordered the gold diggers to smash the stock of Xintu Entertainment, which had just opened, and suddenly fell off a cliff. Before noon, it was smashed through the basement and floated in the green all the way, which was terrible. Steady, hurry up and hold the shareholders meeting, hurry up and raise money to stabilize the stock price. The headquarters of Xintu Entertainment was directly in chaos. From the ecstasy of the previous few days to the recent treading on thin ice, and now to the pain and despair. In just a few days, Xintu has experienced countless ups and downs like a roller coaster. The Xiago stock market was closed for a rest at noon, which gave Xintu Entertainment a chance to breathe. Shareholders gathered at the headquarters to seek a solution. Unfortunately, after thinking about it, there is no better way. In the face of absolute capital, any skill is child's play. Unless Xintu Entertainment injects tens of billions of yuan to stabilize the stock price, Xintu will face the risk of bankruptcy and forced delisting. The lunch break passed in a flash, and as soon as the stock market opened in the afternoon, Xintu Entertainment began a new round of plunge. A large number of Xintu stocks were sold off. Although Xintu Entertainment tried every means to buy them, it still couldn't withstand the opponent's bombardment. It failed to the limit in just 1 or 2 hours. Such a dangerous situation naturally attracted the attention of many people. Those who are aware of it can see that Xintu has been targeted by a capital crocodile, and the result is basically foreseeable. Wherever the capital crocodile passes, it is not only a loss of money, but also not a single bone residue will be left. Xintu Entertainment was suddenly shrouded in a shadow of fear. Lu Jin, who was still negotiating business in Huchin, almost wanted to jump off the building. Out of trust in the company's ability, she not only took out all her savings to invest in Xintu Entertainment stocks, but also even her parents, relatives and friends' savings to buy Xintu stocks. Especially in the past 2 days, Xintu's stock price has been rising all the way. Lu Jin felt that the opportunity should not be missed, so she mortgaged her house and car to buy Xintu's stock. That's not all. She also took out her parents' retirement house and savings and invested them in the stock market. Looking at the rising stock price, there are millions of gains every day, which makes Lu Jin so happy that she will wake up with a smile in her sleep. But today, Xintu's stock plummeted and went green all the way. In just 1 day, not only did she lose all the gains in the past few days, but she also lost more than half of the principal. When Lu Jin wanted to sell the stocks in her hands, it was too late. If the banker can't take it, who else dares to take it? She can only watch all the funds go down the drain. Bang! At the same time, in an old-fashioned house in the suburbs of Guangcheng, there was a sound of a cup being smashed. If you walk to the gate and take a look, you will see the words Liu's house written on the door plaque of the house. A young man was sitting in the side hall of the old house. He had a handsome face, elegant appearance, and first-class temperament, but unfortunately he had a pair of narrow eyes, which added a bit of coldness. On the ground in front of him, an old white porcelain teacup was smashed to pieces. Young master, if there is no new capital injection, then Xintu will not survive tomorrow. A middle-aged man dressed as a butler stood below, looking at the young man with a worried look. His surname is Liu, and he is also called Young Master. He turned out to be Young Master Liu, the big money behind Xintu Entertainment. Humph! Young Master Liu snorted coldly, but did not speak. Xintu was a golden goose in his hand, and it was broken just like this, which really hurt him. There were also 2 young men sitting in the hall, one slightly fat and the other skinny. They were Young Master Liu's right-hand men, Zhuan Eugene and Zan Baochen. Young Master, according to the current predicament of Xintu, at least 30 billion is needed to stabilize the situation, the slightly fat man Zhuan Eugene said solemnly. The thin man Zan Baochen beside him also nodded. I want to know, Can we make a profit with 30 billion invested? Young Master Liu calmed down his anger and asked in a cold voice. This, Zhuan Eugene was speechless. Young Master, if the stock price can be stabilized, then Xintu can regain its momentum and make further progress, but if the other party continues to increase the stakes, then the 30 billion will probably be wasted. Zhan Baochen told the truth. Humph, then what's the use of me? Young Master Liu said decisively. Young Master means to cut off Xintu directly, Zhan Baochen confirmed tentatively. That's also more than 10 billion. It's just a new map, Young Master, I can still afford it. The question is, who is the manipulator behind the scenes? Who wants to be an enemy of my Liu family? Young Master Liu had a frosty face. Young Master, the other party uses overseas accounts, and their trading methods are sophisticated and untraceable. I guess it may be done by overseas capital crocodiles. Zhan Baochen looked helpless. Overseas, Young Master Liu was puzzled. Although the Liu family was wealthy, they had little contact with foreign countries and could not possibly offend foreign capitalists. Why did the other party want to kill Xintu? Continue to investigate. We must find out who the other party is and what their intentions are, Young Master Liu said sternly. Yes, Master. Chapter 159, The Truth is Exposed. The next day, Xintu Entertainment was lying flat, and Su Wei hit its bottom all at once. Anyway, it would be hammered whether it stood or lay down, so it might as well choose a more comfortable posture. What awaits it next is suspension of trading, liquidation, forced delisting, and bankruptcy. Although doing so will affect many people, Xintu Entertainment can cultivate internet celebrities like Zhu Yingxuan, which is not much better. Su Wei believes that it is more beneficial to the country and the people to eliminate such a tumor as soon as possible. Brother, are you done? Can I leave now? Just as Su Wei turned off the gold digger, the voice of his sister Su Jiao came from downstairs. Today is the day for freshmen to enroll, and they agreed to go to school together last night. I'm coming. Su Wei quickly put on his coat and went downstairs. Jin Feng drove. Su Wei, Su's father and mother, sent Su Jiao and Fang Kaioqiao to school. Originally, Xia Wei and He Shuang wanted to come, but Su Wei persuaded them not to. A beautiful CEO and a beautiful angel, wouldn't it be a nuisance for Huatou University? In order to give his sister a stable learning environment, Su Wei had to wear a mask and sunglasses, covering himself like a terrorist. After arranging his sister and Fang Kaioqiao, Su Wei went to see Principal Ma for 2 cups of tea. It was nothing more than saying hello in advance. Although Su Jiao is his sister, she does not want to be treated specially in any way. He just hopes that his sister can experience the university peacefully. Ma Shangwen agreed. Su Wei is the image ambassador of Huatou University, so his sister will not be much worse. If she can achieve some results in the future, Huatou University will be more famous. Thinking of this, Old Man Ma smiled in his sleep. With the start of the new semester, life is back on track. Xia Wei moved to Ziwei Industrial Park in advance, but she is still busy between various subsidiaries. He Shuang has now become a public figure, and she is very popular both online and offline. In particular, her image of being the first to withdraw from Cheyenne Lazian and not bowing to the 5 pecks of rice has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. It is in line with the name of an angel, and is sought after and loved by people of all ages across the country. A real overnight success. Angel Studio also became popular overnight, and received many invitations. In response, Su Wei gave money and people, allowing Angel Studio to expand several times in an instant, occupying all the positions of the original Ziwei headquarters. Li Xiaoman began to return to work, but with the addition of Hu Bin, the workload was much reduced, and she was more responsible for accounting and played a financial role. Grandpa Su still drank, played chess, and boxed, and enjoyed it. As for Su's father and mother, they started the travel mode again. Under the leadership of Liu Min, they went to Ximen City in southwest province to experience the charm of the tropical rainforest. Su Wei naturally had to continue to deal in supplies. After breakfast, he asked Jin Feng to take him to Jinxiu Garden. The car was parked there last time and he didn't drive it back. Feng, have you got the results of your adult college entrance examination? In the car, Su Wei asked Jin Feng beside him. Well, I was admitted to Jichen University, Jin Feng said shyly and excitedly. Okay. A national key university, this time your dream has finally come true. Su Wei was really happy for him. Thank you, Jin Ziafang couldn't help but thank him. What are you thanking me for? This is the result of your own hard work. By the way, why are you driving a car? Hurry up and go to school. Su Wei waved his hand and said. No, I applied for a correspondence course. I don't need to attend classes on campus. I just need to complete the test regularly. The semester is 2 years, and you will graduate if you pass the test. Jin Ziafang shook his head. At his age now, how can he study without doing anything? It's good to work and study at the same time. Okay, then you can do it yourself. Su Wei didn't force it. It couldn't be better to have both fish and bear's paw. Yes, Jin Ziafang nodded. By the way, what major did you choose? Su Wei asked again. Mechanical automation. This is the Trump major of Jichen University, Jin Ziafang answered with a little pride. It just so happens that Xinhua Automobile is still short of a manager. I'll reserve one for you, but you have to get your diploma first. Su Wei nodded. Yes, I know. Jin Ziafang nodded heavily. As they were talking, they arrived at Jinxiu Garden. Su Wei got out of the car and walked towards the cabin, while Jin Ziafang drove away. He also worked part-time as a purchaser and was going to meet Hu Bin to complete today's purchase task. After arriving at the cabin, Su Wei changed his clothes and teleported to the wasteland world. After coming out of the corner of the wilderness and seeing that there was no one around, he released a big transport truck and filled it with supplies. Su Wei then drove it towards the Phaeton base. The outer wall of the base has been completed, making it twice as large. The interior has been replanned, with the old city as the core area, where only important officials and armed personnel from various departments live. The other survivors were assigned between the old city and the outer wall. There were large blocks of new houses built there, and the living conditions were no worse than those in the old city. The vacated area will be demolished to build better houses and fortifications. After finding Yuna and Songdan to learn about the recent situation of the base, Su Wei went straight to the Bloody Roses base. As he approached, Su Wei couldn't help but feel anxious. He was afraid that Zhang Ling would leave without saying goodbye again. Ao as soon as he approached the base, a black shadow jumped from the roof. Xiaobei, Su Wei shouted with surprise. If it is still there, Zhang Ling should still be there. Xiaobei rushed to Su Wei's side, extremely excited, with a big tongue with meat thorns, licking non-stop. Su Wei drooled all over. Pump, Xiaobei, do you like me? Or are you insulting me? Su Wei looked at a face that didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and held down Xiaobei's big head with both hands to avoid the disaster of saliva. Woo Xiaobei looked unhappy. Here, Su Wei quickly took out a large bag of dried fish. The rich smell of fish immediately attracted Xiaobei's attention, and his saliva flowed like a waterfall. Don't worry, Su Wei untied the bag and poured the dried fish into Xiaobei's bloody mouth. At the same time, he opened the storage space and poured more dried fish. What a beautiful trick. Xiaobei's eyes were full of questions. Is there so much in one bag? However, reason was soon overwhelmed by the delicious taste on the tip of his tongue. Who cares? As long as it tastes good. Not only did Xiaobei's wounds heal, but the scars faded, and new white hair grew, shiny and glossy. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have known that it was once covered with scars. This talent is also against the sky. After feeding 3 or 4 bags of dried fish in a row, Xiaobei was finally satisfied. After circling around him, he jumped back to the roof to bask in the sun. Oh my. So he came to me just to have a snack. Chapter 160, Ice and Fire. Boss, as soon as he entered the room, Su Wei met Xiafang. The little girl ate well and slept well in the base, and she had grown baby fat. Her 2 pink cheeks made people want to pinch them. Xiafang, come here, Su Wei immediately waved at her. What's wrong, boss? Xiafang immediately ran over happily. Is Zhang Ling here? Su Wei asked. Yes, Xiafang nodded seriously. How is she feeling? Su Wei asked again. Well, how should I put it? She looks pretty good, right? Xiafang said ambiguously while biting the thumb of one hand. Okay. Here, Su Wei took out a few lollipops from his pocket. Thanks, boss. Xiafang immediately took the candy with a smile on her face, and then ran away. She must have gone to show off to her friends. It was still the same room as before. Su Wei tiptoed to the door of the room. Click. Just when he was about to lean on the door to listen to the noise inside, the door was opened from the inside. Su Wei's face was full of embarrassment. Ahem, let me see you. Seeing Zhang Ling's questioning eyes, Su Wei hurriedly explained. Humph. Zhang Ling still had a cold face and turned back to the room. But she didn't close the door directly. Su Wei followed in with a smile on his face. A faint fragrance floated in the room. Zhang Ling faced the window and stood with her back to Su Wei. What are you looking at? Have you healed? Su Wei walked over and stood shoulder to shoulder with Zhang Ling. Through the window, you can see a construction site where ordinary housing is being built. The survivors working there are talking and laughing, and they are having a good time. This is definitely an alternative existence in the wasteland. It's healed, Zhang Ling replied, and after thinking for a while, she added, thank you, you're welcome. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today. Su Wei smiled and shook his head. In his mind, the scene of their first meeting emerged again. The more I know about the wasteland, the more I fear it. If Zhang Ling had any intention of killing, his grave would have been covered with grass. This is your ability, it has nothing to do with me. Zhang Ling shook her head, not daring to take credit. The Medal of Honor is half mine and half yours. Su Wei playfully bumped Zhang Ling's shoulder. But Zhang Ling didn't react at all, and the air fell into silence. I'm leaving, Zhang Ling suddenly spoke in silence. She wanted to leave 2 days ago, but for some reason, she always felt that she should say goodbye to Su Wei in person. Where are you going? Su Wei was stunned. To a place that belongs to me. Zhang Ling's face had a trace of sadness. This is where you belong, Xiaoling. My promise to you is still valid. Su Wei grabbed Zhang Ling's arm, fearing that she would disappear if he let go. What promise? Zhang Ling showed a trace of surprise. You will be the leader of the base, Su Wei said firmly. No, I don't want it. Zhang Ling's tone was very firm. But the arm that was grabbed by Su Wei did not struggle. Oh wow, there's hope. Su Wei couldn't help but feel happy, but he didn't dare to show it on his face. Then can you stay and help me? As he said that, Su Wei moved closer. Help you with what? Zhang Ling's body couldn't help but tremble slightly, as if she felt the warmth of the big hand. Help me fulfill my dream. Su Wei moved closer again. What dream? Zhang Ling's breathing began to get a little chaotic. On the wasteland, build a paradise without hunger, killing, discrimination, or oppression. Su Wei spoke slowly, and in a few words, he drew a picture of a peaceful and prosperous era. As Zhang Ling listened, she couldn't help but show an expression of endless yearning on her face. Yes. If that were the case, it would be great. No hunger, no killing, no discrimination, no oppression. 10 years after the disaster, human nature has been distorted. How many people still remember what peacetime was like? So, stay, okay? Xiaoling. Su Wei stared at the other's big, black and beautiful eyes. Zhang Ling's face flashed a trace of panic, and she quickly lowered her head, not daring to look at him again. Stay and help me, okay? Su Wei took a step further, his mouth almost touching Zhang Ling's earlobe. Zhang Ling hurriedly wanted to retreat, but was blocked by the table behind her, and passively leaned into Su Wei's arms. Suddenly, she was surrounded by a large group of masculine energy, which constantly eroded her wool and made her almost suffocated. A barely audible low moan, not knowing whether it was a protest or an agreement. Ling, you are really so good. To Su Wei's ears, it was like hearing the sound of nature, and his heart was even more happy. No matter what, as long as you agree, you are mine. In excitement, Su Wei lowered his head and kissed Zhang Ling's red lips. There was a hint of coldness, a hint of sweetness, and a hint of a salty fishy oh. The next second, Su Wei's joy turned into sorrow, and his lips were bitten. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Zhang Ling's face was burning, and she swore that she was just reacting instinctively. You don't have to be so cruel. Su Wei covered his mouth and wanted to cry but had no tears. Bah. You still say it. Who told you to sneak attack me? Zhang Ling's face was very thin, and she couldn't stand such teasing. The frost of 10,000 years returned to her face. Yes, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have done it without your consent, Su Wei confessed quickly. You still say it? Zhang Ling roared in anger. Okay, I won't say it. Su Wei quickly shut up and made a zipper-pulling motion, but blood was still oozing from his lips, which looked very weird. Puff. Zhang Ling, who had been frozen for 10,000 years, couldn't help but burst out laughing. Okay, if you smile, you're not angry anymore. Su Wei took advantage of the situation and gently embraced Zhang Ling in his arms. The latter struggled slightly, but didn't break free, and then calmed down. This reminded her of that night when Su Wei rushed all night to rescue her. That was the night she felt the safest, warmest, and most peaceful night. It's a deal, stay, Su Wei confirmed to the woman in a low voice. Su Wei, I'm scared. Zhang Ling was trembling slightly. This was the first time she chose to believe in love, but she didn't know whether this choice was right or wrong. This extremely strange and unpredictable feeling made her very scared. Don't be afraid. I'm here, I will never let anyone hurt you, Su Wei patted her back gently and said domineeringly. From then on, Zhang Ling stayed in the Phaeton base, and the two lived a happy life without shame or impatience. I said it wrong. It should be, from then on, Zhang Ling stayed in the Phaeton base and served as the head of the Armed Forces Department, responsible for managing the combatants of the base. Yuna is in charge of the legal department and is responsible for maintaining order in the base. Because they are both ice and fire, and are both stunningly beautiful, they are nicknamed Ice and Fire Princesses by the survivors in the base. Zhang Ling is the Ice Princess and Yuna is the Fire Princess. Chapter 161 Standardized Management. In the evening, when Mr. Su came back from outside and walked to the door of Yun Shujian, he saw an old man in black clothes and long gown. Strangely, the old man had thick black shoulder-length hair, fluttering in the evening breeze. I am curious about what brand of shampoo this old man uses. Wei Qiang, wait for me here, Mr. Su said to Wei Qiang behind him, and then walked towards the old man in black clothes and long gown. Wei Qiang thought he met an acquaintance, so he followed Mr. Su's instructions and waited aside. Do you live here? The old man in black clothes and long gown saw Mr. Su coming over, and a solemn look appeared on his face. Who are you looking for? Mr. Su did not answer but asked instead, but he answered the other party's question in the tone of a master. Who is Su Wei to you? The old man in black clothes and long gown asked again. Big grandson thief. What's the matter? Mr. Su was straightforward. The old man in black robe had a gloomy face. He suspected that Mr. Su was scolding him, but unfortunately he had no evidence. Ask about my apprentice, the old man in black robe said coldly. I don't think it has anything to do with him, Mr. Su said firmly. It's better not, if I know it was him, you can't protect him. The old man in black robe had a hint of murderous intent in his tone. I definitely believe in my son thief, Mr. Su said with a smile on his face. Goodbye, the old man in black robe hesitated again and again, but still gave up the idea of taking action, turned around and slowly left. Looking at the back of the old man in black, Mr. Su showed a thoughtful expression on his face. Old man, what's wrong? At this time, Wei Qiang came over. Nothing, just met an old friend. Mr. Su shook his head and turned to walk toward Yun Shujian. Oh, Wei Qiang also followed. Yun Shujian is 2 or 3 kilometers away from Xianhu Garden. Su Wei originally asked Wei Qiang to drive a cart to pick up the old man, but the old man refused sternly. In his words, he is not too old to move yet, so he can just take this road as exercise. Su Wei had no choice but to let him do it. The days that followed were dull again, and the old man in black seemed to have never been there. Su Wei continued his life of going from one point to another. In the morning, he went out to the cabin and teleported to the wasteland world to transport supplies. In the evening, he returned to Yun Shujian to eat and chat with his family. Occasionally, he would receive video calls from Su's father and mother, and enjoy the beautiful scenery around him. It's different to have a private tour guide. It's very easy to play, and you can go whenever you want and stay whenever you want. Su Jiao and Fang Kai began to integrate into college life. It is said that both of them were shortlisted for the school beauties of this year, and they received many flowers and love letters from admirers just after the start of school. But both of them were not interested in this and buried their heads in hard study. That day, Su Wei did not go to the small house in Jinxiu Garden, but stayed in Yun Shujian No. 1 courtyard. He made an appointment with Li Xiaoman to meet today, and there were some things that needed to be discussed in detail. At around 9 o'clock in the morning, Li Xiaoman arrived as scheduled. Xiaoman, have you eaten? Su Wei asked Li Xiaoman as she came in to change her shoes. Today, she was wearing a blue business suit. A V-neck suit on the upper body, a one-step skirt on the lower body, and black shiny silk wrapped around her long legs, which looked very beautiful. The life potion not only cured her terminal illness, but also stimulated her life potential, radiating an extraordinary brilliance. Eat it, Mom made it, Li Xiaoman smiled sweetly at Su Wei. Her mother Jia Huping was getting better day by day, and her heart was as sweet as drinking honey. Really? Auntie's cooking skills are really good, Su Wei praised repeatedly. Of course, Li Xiaoman immediately raised her pointed little chin, like a proud little peacock. Yes, I'm so envious, jealous, and hateful. Su Wei's face immediately revealed an expression of envy, jealousy, and hate. Bah, you're not serious. Li Xiaoman couldn't help but laugh and scold. As they talked, the two sat in the living room, ready to talk business. What are your instructions today, boss? After Li Xiaoman took the juice handed over by Su Wei, she looked like she was asking for instructions. It's nothing big, just that you can't work alone like this anymore. Su Wei also poured himself a glass of juice. Oh, what do you mean? You're not going to lay off employees after taking advantage of everything, boss? If there's anything that the secretary didn't serve well, you tell me, can't I change it? Li Xiaoman teased with a pitiful look. Su Wei almost wanted to execute him on the spot, and he had to use his 9th level of endurance to hold back. Puff. Looking at Su Wei's appearance, Li Xiaoman couldn't help but laugh out loud. It's fun to tease the boss. HMPH, believe it or not, I'll make you look bad right now, Su Wei said with a fiery look in his eyes. I don't dare anymore, boss. You go on. Li Xiaoman quickly gave in. What I mean is that you have to set up a company and standardize management, Su Wei said with a wry smile. Yesterday, Mr. Xia called him, and the general meaning was to ask him why he hoarded so many supplies? And only in and not out, which has attracted the attention of relevant departments. It's just that Su Wei and Ziwei's identities are very different, so he first asked the higher-ups whether to conduct an in-depth investigation. Fortunately, this matter fell into the hands of Mr. Lei, so he asked Mr. Xia to ask Su Wei what the situation was. Su Wei had to lie that he was doing charity and the supplies were donated to poor third countries. It was just because it was too troublesome, so there was no formal process. After hearing this, Mr. Xia didn't ask much, but just told him to formalize the process to avoid giving people a reason to criticize. So there was today's interview. Set up a company. What about those things of yours, boss? Li Xiaoman immediately understood what was going on, but she also knew that Su Wei's things often disappeared. If a company was set up, wouldn't it be like shooting himself in the foot? It's okay, as long as it can be handled on the books. In addition, set up a charity fund in the name of the company to help the poor. Also, find someone to register a foreign company, which will be used for the transfer of some goods. Su Wei made arrangements directly. As long as the flow of materials is activated, who can know exactly how much materials there are? Where have they gone? The materials will still be transferred to the wasteland world, but the procedures will be more complicated. As for registering a foreign company, it is just to provide a reasonable and explainable channel for the things moved from the wasteland. Okay, boss. Li Xiaoman has already written down Su Wei's arrangements in a small notebook. Okay, then go and arrange it. Finding an intermediary company is nothing more than spending a little more money. Don't tire yourself out, Su Wei said with concern. Okay, boss. Do you have any other instructions? If not, I'll take my leave now. Li Xiaoman smiled playfully at Su Wei. As she spoke, she licked the remaining juice at the corner of her mouth with her bright red tongue. Hey, Su Wei grabbed a little woman, put her on his shoulder, and walked upstairs. Chapter 162, Development. After arranging Li Xiaoman, Su Wei drove out. On the way, he remembered that there was something wrong, so he turned to Ziwei Industrial Park. On the top floor of Ziwei building, in the president's office, he found Xiaowei who was busy. Stinky brother, have you finally remembered me? Xiaowei's voice was full of resentment. How could it be? I think about you, Sister Wei, every day, every hour, every minute, every second, Su Wei hurriedly said affectionately. Hey, this mouth, is it smeared with honey? Xiaowei looked at Su Wei with a raised corner of her mouth. Sister Wei, how about you try it? Su Wei smiled even more brightly. Bah, stinky brother, Xiaowei cursed angrily. Ahem, Sister Wei, I have something to talk to you about. Seeing that the roof was crooked, Su Wei hurriedly changed the subject. Oh, you said? Xiaowei suddenly became serious after hearing this. I want to set up a pharmaceutical company, Su Wei continued. Medicinal materials are different from other materials, and the supervision is more stringent, so Su Wei thought of the method of pharmaceutical companies. Anyway, there are so many medicines in the wasteland world, so just pick 2 at random. Moreover, the core medicinal materials in the wasteland world can be truly unique. Huh? Why did you suddenly think of making medicine? Xiaowei was stunned when she heard it. Nothing, I just think it's a pity that some excellent medicines can't benefit mankind, Su Wei explained vaguely. He couldn't say that he was going to continue to deal in medicinal materials. Ah. Is it that? Xiaowei couldn't help but be surprised, and the first thing she thought of was life number 1. No, but the effect is also very good, and it can meet the needs of mass consumption, Su Wei shook his head. The life potion is a miracle drug, which cannot be easily released. No one knows what consequences it will bring. Well, I understand. Do you have any specific requirements? Xiaowei stopped asking after hearing this. Trust is his unconditional support for him. No, first apply for it as a drug for treating trauma. I will send you the detailed information later, Su Wei said. Okay, I'll arrange some people to build the framework first. Xiaowei always followed Su Wei's requests without compromise. After chatting for a few more words, Su Wei got up and left, going to the wasteland world to find Mr. Qin to get the formula of the potion. Su Wei took the elevator all the way down. Ling. The elevator suddenly stopped at the 12th floor. The elevator door opened, and a beautiful girl wearing a purple suit and gray silk high heels walked in from outside. It was Feng Zuli, the general manager of Ziyi Travel. Mr. Su. As soon as Feng Zuli stepped into the elevator, she saw that the passenger inside was Su Wei, and she was a little embarrassed. Hello, Manager Feng, Su Wei greeted with a smile. He had basically met all the senior executives of the branch. Mr. Su, I'll take the next one. Feng Zuli hurriedly exited the elevator. It's okay, let's go together. Su Wei pressed the door open button and said quickly. Thank you, Mr. Su. Feng Zuli then walked into the elevator again. You're welcome. Su Wei shook his head and pressed the door close button 1110-987. The elevator went down, but each floor number became a countdown in Feng Zuli's mind. Should I tell the big boss about this? Should I? Feng Zuli couldn't help but feel very conflicted. The probability of meeting the big boss in the company is extremely low. If she missed this opportunity, she didn't know how long she would have to wait. But if she talked about things at this time, would it delay the big boss's arrangements? And if she acted on her own, would she be scolded by President Xia? Manager Feng, do you have something to say? After being strengthened, Su Wei's perception was different from that of ordinary people, so Feng Zuli's every move naturally fell into his eyes. Oh Mr. Su, I want to discuss something about the travel company with you, but I don't know if you have time. Feng Zuli gritted her teeth and prepared to talk to Su Wei. Okay, Su Wei smiled and nodded. Great, Mr. Su, this is what I think. Feng Zuli was about to tell him everything, but Su Wei raised his hand to stop her. Manager Feng, are you going to talk to me about work in the elevator? Even if I want to listen, it's too late, right? Su Wei pointed around and said teasingly. Ling. At this moment, the elevator arrived at the first floor, and several employees were waiting outside. Boss Su, let's go to my office, Feng Zuli invited hurriedly. Okay, Su Wei nodded. With that, the two took the elevator back to the 12th floor. Boss Su, would you like tea or coffee? In the office, Feng Zuli entertained Su Wei warmly. Just give me a glass of water, Su Wei said and sat down on the sofa. Ziyi Group is built according to high standards. Although the branch manager's office is not as good as Xiaowei's, it is also luxurious. Feng Zuli immediately ran to pour a cup of hot water in high heels and placed it in front of Su Wei. Let's get started. Su Wei picked up the cup and took a sip. Mr. Su, Ziyi Travel currently only carries out domestic projects, and the market has shrunk by more than half. The main reason is that there are too many domestic players, and the attractions are quite similar, so it is difficult to develop new routes. In addition, the US sanctions have not been lifted. Therefore, I suggest that the company expand to third countries. Feng Zuli briefly explained her plan. Third countries? Su Wei was slightly stunned. Third countries are labeled as backward, barbaric, and ignorant. Is it feasible to travel to those places? Mr. Su, although the material civilization of third countries is not developed, it is precisely because of this that their original ecology is preserved quite perfectly, and you can experience another world. I have done research in this regard. At present, people have a very high desire for excitement, adventure, and novelty, especially the so-called upper class such as the rich are more keen on adventure, If we can open a few such routes, I think we will definitely get extraordinary gains. Feng Zuli's eyes sparkled. Perhaps she is full of adventurous blood in her bones. Well, although this proposal is bold, it can indeed arouse people's desire for adventure. Do you have a pending target? Su Wei had to praise Feng Zuli's bold idea. I already have one. Feng Zuli immediately rushed to the desk and found a stack of information. On the top was a map. Meninia in Africa. Feng Zuli pointed to the circled dot and said, "Why did you choose it?" Su Wei asked, looking at the place far away on another continent. First, Africa is vast and sparsely populated, with rich natural resources, and its acceptance capacity is 5 stars. Second, Meninia faces the sea and has grasslands, jungles, gobi and other terrain features. The development index is 5 stars. Third, Meninia has maintained a good relationship with Xiago for decades, and the security index is 4 stars. Also, Meninia has the largest number of tribal races in Africa, and a wide variety of cultural heritage, and the shaping index is 4 stars. Feng Zuli flipped through the stack of information with excitement. It was illustrated with pictures and texts, and recorded a lot of data. It can be seen that she really put a lot of effort into collecting and researching the information. The cost of this development is not low, right? Su Wei smiled slightly. The original state represents primitiveness, and many things require investment. Mr. Su, this, Feng Zuli's face fell instantly. This cost is a big flaw. Okay, I agree. Go ahead and do it boldly. Su Wei interrupted Feng Zuli directly. Thank you, boss. No, thank you, Mr. Su. Happiness came too suddenly. Feng Zuli was so happy that she was a little incoherent. You're welcome. You are also working hard for the development of the company. Work hard and strive to open a new line as soon as possible. I'm looking forward to it too, Su Wei encouraged. Yes, I will complete the task. Feng Zuli immediately patted her chest and promised. Okay, then I'll leave, Su Wei said and got up to leave. Mr. Su, take care. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Scouting. Small tables, small stools, and small chairs, come in. After sending Su Wei away, Feng Zuli was so excited that she almost banged her head against the wall. It took a lot of effort to hold back. Then, she couldn't wait to open the office door and shouted loudly towards the office area. Boss, I'm here, boss. Hearing Feng Zuli's voice, several handsome men and beautiful women immediately ran over with notebooks. Boss, what do you want? Several people asked in unison. Put down all your work and go with me to check the location. Feng Zuli looked high-spirited, like a general about to go to war. Check the location, where to? Several people were confused. Africa, Meninia. Feng Zuli raised the map in her hand and said loudly. Africa, Meninia. Several people almost couldn't breathe. What's going on? Feng Zuli saw the expressions of several people as if their parents had died, and she was immediately unhappy. Boss, are you really going to make it this big? Several people said with sad faces. What are you talking about? Go and get ready. Feng Zuli's face sank. She was determined to do it. Yes, several people had to go down and get ready. Su Wei naturally didn't know about Feng Zuli's arrangement. He went straight to the hut in Jingxiu Garden and then teleported to the wasteland world. He dragged a car of supplies to the Phaeton base, and it was still a scene of bustling activity. After taking over the armed department, Zhang Ling put on the posture of an iceberg instructor, demanding strictness and not smiling. It made the soldiers miserable. It felt that it was better when Minister Yu was there before. However, everyone also understood that the more sweat you sweat in training, the less blood you shed in war. So, no matter how hard and tired you are, you still grit your teeth and persevere. In addition, the Bloody Rose was officially incorporated into the armed department and became an independent brigade, which was a member of the Phaeton Special Forces. As a result, there was an all-female team on the training ground, which added a lot of color to the armed department. In the wasteland world, the population ratio is seriously unbalanced. In some places, women are directly traded as a commodity, which shows how scarce they are. Therefore, the appearance of this team of female soldiers has given the beasts of the armed department full motivation. They show off their bulging muscles and fit bodies one by one, and there is no sign of fatigue at all. It must be said that men and women work together, and work is not tiring. Zhang Ling and Wang Boing are naturally happy to see such a result. They deliberately increased the number of appearances of the Bloody Rose to let the beasts swing to their heart's content. There is also good news, that is, Ji Tongguang led people to repair the forging workshop of the Iron Forge of the Sandsdong Gang, which can provide more than 10 new metal materials. This has upgraded the Science and Technology Department of the Phaeton base to another level, and the number of technological products that can be restored has increased by dozens. There are many shadows of new weapons among them. Su Wei naturally approved the manufacturing. If you want to develop, you must have a strong armed force, otherwise even ghosts will not listen to you. After learning about the situation from Song Dan, Su Wei went straight to the medical department. Tell Qin Lao about your purpose. Old Qin took him directly to a storage room, where there were rows of shelves filled with all kinds of medicines. These were byproducts of the experiment, including medicines for healing, medicines for curing diseases, and deadly poisons. Su Wei was dazzled by the sight. These are all recorded with data and can be repeatedly prepared. Find whatever you need, I'm still busy. After saying that, Old Qin left. He was really an experiment maniac who didn't even know how to curry favor with his boss. Su Wei didn't care and walked around the storage room alone. You don't know until you see it, and you'll be shocked when you see it. Some medicines are really scary. For example, a medicine named beast transformation can actually cause human genes to mutate and evolve into the characteristics of beasts, such as sharp teeth, hair and tails, etc. It can also mutate into different combinations of beasts and humans, according to the different gene fragments introduced into the medicine. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to call it a half-orc. There is also a medicine that can stop people from breathing. At first glance, it looks like poison, but a closer look shows that it is not the case at all. Stop breathing means that the potion can provide the oxygen needed by the human body temporarily, so that the body can stop breathing for a period of time and will not suffocate. This is a good thing. Su Wei immediately grabbed a few and put them in the space. After that, Su Wei found several interesting potions, which can temporarily change the skin color, temporarily change the voice, and increase the strength for a short time. There are even some that change gender, which Su Wei directly kept away from. Who knows if that thing will have side effects? Finally, Su Wei finally found the ideal potion. One potion can quickly heal wounds, and one potion can quickly repair scars. Both are external potions. The wasteland world already has therapeutic potions that can repair all internal and external injuries, so simply promoting wound healing has no use value. And the effect of removing scars is even more useless. In the wasteland, even the stomach can't be filled. Who would come to trade this simple scar removal potion? Besides, in the wasteland world, people get injured every other day, and it's useless to remove scars. It can be said that these two potions are garbage in the wasteland. But for the modern world, these two potions are simply magical drugs. Wounds can scab in seconds, and scars can be quickly eliminated. Su Wei took these two potions to find Qin Lao, who was indeed disgusted. He had only collected them as a collection, but he didn't expect Su Wei to treat them as treasures. But the boss needed it, so he had to prepare it no matter how much he disliked it. However, Su Wei asked him to reduce the efficacy of the potion by 10 times, and as long as he configured the mutant medicinal materials, Qin Lao was immediately happy. He immediately modified the formula, and then threw 2 large barrels of nearly 1 ton of mutant medicinal material extract to Su Wei, and that was it. Because both potions only use a mutant medicinal material called jade bone grass, and the biggest feature of this jade bone grass is that it is everywhere. After adjustment, the amount of jade bone grass extract only needs 1,000th, that is, these 2 large barrels alone are enough for Su Wei to make nearly 1,000 tons of potions. After getting the things, Su Wei naturally rushed back to the modern world. He copied the formula again in the hut, changed the name of the jade bone grass liquid to a numerical code, and gave the 2 potions a name. The one that heals wounds is called a blood zipper, which means it stops bleeding quickly and conveniently, just like a zipper. The one that repairs scars is called a touch of light, which means that after applying it, it will be as smooth as new. I have to complain about this name, it's really not that good. But Su Wei didn't think so. 1,000 gold coins can't make me happy. Then, he ran to find Xia Wei excitedly. Chapter 164. Something happened. Is your potion really so magical? In the office, Xia Wei looked at the potion description provided by Su Wei with a surprised look on her face. Of course, this is still a low-end version. After the market is opened up, there will be a high-end version, and the effect will only be stronger, Su Wei said with a smug look on his face. Products from the wasteland must be top-notch. Okay. I can understand the effect, but what the hell is this name, Bloodzipper? A white flat, why does it sound like the rat poison on the street? Xiaowei had seen the power of the life potion, so she was naturally able to accept these two magical drugs quickly, but the name made her really want to complain. Su Wei was so upset when he heard it. He just had an expression that he was about to praise me, but he was ruthlessly despised. This is not the name you gave it. Xiaowei saw Su Wei's embarrassed expression and couldn't help guessing. How is it possible, with my talent, would I have come up with such a bad name? It was probably chosen by some uneducated researcher, Maya. Uneducated, how terrible. Ha, Su Wei decisively passed on the blame. Anyway, Mr. Qin would never show up, the best scapegoat. Really, can an uneducated person be a researcher? Xiaowei looked suspicious. Science students, you know, there are more straight men in titanium alloy, but you know what, it's really appropriate, Su Wei explained without blushing or beating his heart. It's appropriate, but it sounds too cheap and doesn't meet the company's packaging requirements. Xiaowei no longer bothered about to pick the name and analyzed it seriously. If it's not suitable, change it. Anyway, we have the final say. Su Wei completely gave up on the reversal and lay down directly. What should I call it? Xiaowei frowned slightly and thought seriously. The beauty rolled up the pearl curtain and sat deep in the frown. Not to mention, the queen fell into deep thought, which was another flavor. Su Wei, who was standing by, feasted his eyes. I got it. The one for treating wounds is called Jinchuang aerosol, and the one for removing scars is called Zufu. What do you think? After a long while, Xiaowei's eyes suddenly lit up. Jinchuang aerosol. Good, this is good. It is a combination of the past and the present, and you can understand it at a glance, but this Zufu sounds like a cosmetic, not a medicine. Su Wei couldn't help but nod his head in admiration. It really sounds high-end and classy. Although scar removal is a medical process, I have a feeling that it will be used more by women, so taking such a name will win more favor from consumers, Xiaowei explained with a smile. As soon as she saw the efficacy of the medicine, she had already met the market. That makes sense. I'll listen to you. It's settled. Su Wei immediately made the decision. With specific things, the company's affairs can naturally be put on the agenda. However, since the right person has not been found to supervise it, Zuyi Pharmaceutical can only be managed by Xiaowei for the time being. Well, there are still a lot of things here that have not been dealt with, and new work has come. Xiaowei almost suspected that the strengthening medicine was used for this purpose. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but stretched out her hand and pinched Su Wei's arm. Oh, Sister Wei, you are not following martial ethics, you are attacking by surprise. Su Wei was confused. Huh? You know it in your heart, Xiaowei pouted and said unhappily. Oh what, I know it. Su Wei was even more confused. Why did it suddenly become cloudy? Women's hearts are like needles in the sea. Ling. At this time, Su Wei's mobile phone suddenly rang. He took it out and saw that it was Chen Long. Hello, Brother Long. Su Wei answered the phone immediately. Boss, something happened. Guang Fanson and others lost contact. Chen Long's anxious voice came from the phone. You know, Guang Fanson and others are responsible for the safety of Su's father and mother. Losing contact means that Su's father and mother are in danger. What? Su Wei only felt a burst of explosion in his brain, and a huge anger rose from his chest. Boss, I'm sorry, I didn't think it through. Chen Long felt a burst of regret in his heart. Why didn't he send a few more people? Don't panic yet, wait for me to contact my parents. You continue to watch. Su Wei suppressed his anger and said coldly. Yes, boss, Chen Long replied quickly. Xiao Wei, don't worry, uncle and aunt will be fine. After Su Wei hung up the phone, Xiao Wei hurriedly comforted him. She was sitting next to Su Wei, so she could hear the voice on the phone clearly. Yes, Su Wei nodded and hurriedly dialed his father Su Jinkei's phone. Sorry, the number you dialed is turned off. Su Wei called his mother Wang Ziulin again, but it still said it was turned off. No, I have to go find them. Su Wei was completely panicked now, and he stood up. Xiao Wei, don't panic, ask Grandpa to help investigate the situation, otherwise where can you find them? Xiao Wei hurriedly grabbed Su Wei. Yes, I'll call now. Su Wei hurriedly looked for Grandpa Xia's phone. Ling. Coincidentally, Grandpa Xia's phone just called. "Hello, old Xia Wei, I know everything." Before Su Wei could say anything, old Xia said in a serious tone. Huh? Su Wei frowned even more when he heard this. "Here's what happened. I just received a call from Zhanlong. The people responsible for your parents have lost contact, and, just now, mercenaries invaded our southwest border. We speculate that those mercenaries are going after your parents." Old Xia told him everything directly. "Do you know who is behind this?" Su Wei's voice became cold and full of murderous intent. "There are no clues yet, but we speculate that the other party's purpose should be to target you," Old Xia continued. "Humph, if you dare to touch my parents, I will definitely cut him into pieces." "Old Xia, give me a coordinate." The murderous aura on Su Wei became more and more intense, and it could be felt through the phone screen. Xia Wei's pretty face turned pale with fear. If she hadn't been strengthened, she would probably faint directly from fear. "Xiaohu, don't be impulsive. The other party is obviously trying to get you into a trap. Don't worry, Zhanlong has already been dispatched and will definitely give you a satisfactory explanation." Old Xia hurriedly dissuaded him. "Old Xia, please." Su Wei was determined to leave. How could he feel at ease when his parents were missing? "Well, okay, I'll send someone to pick you up, but, Xiaohu, you must meet up with Zhanlong's people and never act on your own." Old Xia knew that persuasion was useless, so he could only agree. "Got it, Old Xia, if it's convenient, I want to take a few people with me." Although Su Wei was angry, he didn't lose his mind. "Okay, you can arrange it." Old Xia nodded in agreement. After speaking, he hung up the phone. "Xiaohu, I'll go with you." Xia Wei held Su Wei's hand tightly, her pretty face full of worry. "Sister Wei, don't worry, I won't do anything reckless. When I'm away, you still need to preside over this place." Su Wei shook his head and refused. But Xia Wei's eyes were full of tears. "No buts. Wait until we come back." Su Wei gently broke free from Xia Wei's hand and resolutely rushed out of the president's office. Chapter 165 Still Wide. Half an hour later, Su Wei met up with Chen Long and others at Yanshujian. At the same time, a military armored troop carrier arrived. The person who was responsible for picking up Su Wei and the others was Shangwen Fair. However, she was Zhanlong's man, so there was nothing wrong with her following Zhanlong's orders. "Su Wei, are you ready?" Shangwen Fair jumped out of the car in a combat uniform, and her beauty was enhanced by a heroic spirit. "Ready," Su Wei nodded. "Get in the car." Shangwen Fair took the lead and walked into the troop carrier. Su Wei, Chen Long and others followed in. As soon as the door closed, the armored vehicle roared and rushed out. "Can you use a gun?" Shangwen Fair asked Su Wei and others. "Yes," several people nodded immediately. This surprised Shangwen Fair a little. It was okay for the others, as they were all veterans, so it was reasonable. Why did Su Wei nod? "Pick the equipment yourself, but I'll state in advance that you have to return it after use." In an emergency, Shangwen Fair didn't bother to figure out why Su Wei could shoot a gun, and opened a few large boxes that had been placed in the car in advance. Oh my god. It's like a small arsenal. There are pistols, rifles, machine guns, and even grenades, as well as bulletproof vests and helmets. Chen Long and others immediately chose the guns they were good at, and put on bulletproof vests and helmets. Su Wei rummaged through the box, took out a few grenades, and put them into the space by stuffing them into the bag. He took out another bulletproof vest and put it on, not for anything else, but because there were so many pockets on it, he liked it very much. As for guns, there are all kinds of guns in the wasteland world, and these are all leftovers. "Don't you have a sniper rifle?" Su Wei looked up at Shangwen Fair. Relatively speaking, he is more comfortable with sniper rifles. Shangwen Fair was stunned by the question. "That's too much? You, a newbie who has never touched a gun, want a sniper rifle right away? Have you played too much chicken? Do you have it?" Su Wei asked impatiently. "What do you mean by looking at me with your big eyes? Here, AMR-2 sniper rifle special modification caliber 12.7 mm, range 2000 meters. Shangwen Fair was angry and pulled out a long box from under the seat at her feet. After opening it, there was a super cool sniper rifle that looked like Barrett. Chen Long and others were jealous. The AMR-2 sniper rifle is one of the core equipment of Xiaogu at present. There is no export version yet, and it is only equipped with the army. Only the special modification unit of Zhanlong is qualified to use it. Su Wei reached out and took the AMR-2 sniper rifle out of the box. It was assembled in a few clicks, and the operation was as fierce as a tiger. Seeing this, the eyelids of others jumped. Shang Wenfei wanted to say was stuck in her neck. It felt like a fishbone stuck in her neck. It was too uncomfortable. It's okay, Su Wei played with it for a while, and after getting familiar with the feel of the AMR-2 sniper rifle, he said lightly. Although this is considered a relatively advanced sniper rifle, it is still far inferior to the modified sniper rifle in his space. This person, it is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it is difficult to go from luxury to frugality. Huh? Shang Wenfei couldn't help but snorted to express dissatisfaction. This is her special sniper rifle. Some modifications have been made. It is more powerful and has a longer range, but the recoil has also increased. It is not something that ordinary people can handle. Su Wei, who was worried about his parents, was in no mood to explain. He closed his eyes while holding the AMR-2 sniper rifle. Now he needs to calm down as much as possible and keep his brain rational. The car suddenly fell into silence. More than half an hour later, the armored vehicle drove into a military area, where a dark green military armed helicopter was parked. Under the leadership of Shang Wenfei, several people got on it, and the armed helicopter immediately took off and flew southwest. An hour later, the armed helicopter hovered over a jungle and sent down a rappelling rope. This time it was Chen Long who took the lead and fell straight to the ground along the rappelling rope. After the last Shang Wenfei landed, the armed helicopter retracted the rope and flew away. Rustling. With the sound of treading branches and leaves, a team of well-armed soldiers emerged from the jungle. Fei, the leader, was a middle-aged strong man with dark skin, a body like an iron tower, and a look of angry King Kong. Uncle Li, Shang Wenfei immediately went to meet him. This man was Shang Wenli, the uncle of the clan, a captain of the Hanlong Special Operations Department. Uncle Li, he is Su Wei, and the few of them are his bodyguards. Shang Wenfei then introduced Shang Wenli. Captain Li, Chen Long came up and saluted Shang Wenli. He used to be in this Hanlong Special Operations Department and had performed missions with Shang Wenli, so they knew each other. Chen Long? Well, not bad, much stronger than before. Shang Wenli came up and hit Chen Long on the shoulder, smiling. Thanks to the boss, Chen Long said modestly. Yes, Su Wei, Mr. Xia has told me everything, but the situation is more complicated this time. Please cooperate with us. Shang Wenli nodded and turned to Su Wei with a serious expression on his face. No problem, but I want to know, what's the situation of my parents now? And what's the situation of my people? Su Wei nodded and said simply. It has been confirmed that they were kidnapped by a foreign mercenary team nicknamed Poison Wolf Spider. Not only that, there are two other teams of foreign mercenaries who sneaked into the border. They are Thornblade and Blood Butcher. They are both internationally famous veterans and a bit tricky. It happened very suddenly. The accompanying bodyguards and Hanlong's manpower were defeated, so the enemy succeeded. Fortunately, the rescue was timely and no one died. With the relationship of the Xia family, Shang Wenli told the information without concealing anything. Where are they now? Su Wei frowned when he heard it. Zia Ohu, Shang Wenli raised his hand and called a young soldier over. He took out a military tablet from his bag and called up a satellite map. Their entry point is here, and it has been blocked by our heavy troops. We are here. They should be hiding in this area now. It's only tens of kilometers away from the nearest border, but we have people guarding it there. As long as they are not stupid, they will not fall into the trap. The only thing left is this border, which is more than 100 kilometers long. It is impossible to predict where they will break through. The most troublesome thing is that time does not allow us to defend the entire line. Shang Wenli slid the satellite map and explained to Su Wei. In this case, let's chase them and kill them all. Su Wei took a look at the map and memorized the coordinates on it. Well said, that's what we mean. Shang Wenli was stunned at first, and then he agreed loudly. What he didn't expect was that Su Wei, who seemed to be gentle and refined, could actually say such a murderous and decisive word. Let's go. Without much idle talk, Shang Wenli immediately ordered to set off and took Su Wei and others to the designated area. Chapter 166. Where is the promised cooperation? On the way, Su Wei secretly gave orders to the artificial intelligence in the smart bracelet. No matter which country's satellites invaded overhead, as long as they could illuminate this area, they were not spared, and sent Su Wei a large number of the clearest images in real time. In addition, he also asked the artificial intelligence to search for no relevant information about the poisonous wolf spider, the thorn blade, and the blood butcher, hoping to find clues or know who was behind the scenes. A large amount of information was transmitted at once, and if Su Wei had not been strengthened, his eyes would be blinded. Unfortunately, mercenaries basically have middlemen or contact persons, and they have separate channels to contact customers, so it is difficult to find information about the upper house. However, during this period, more than a dozen mercenaries' accounts in international banks were discovered, with a total of more than 1 billion yuan. Su Wei hacked them without hesitation. Dare to touch my relatives, be prepared to be destroyed. Anyway, they will be destroyed, what's the point of keeping the money? At the same time, the international community was in chaos. Many countries found that their satellites were hacked and they could not regain control. Fortunately, no malicious incidents occurred. The other party seemed to be just playing for fun. This made many countries feel insulted and vowed to dig this person out and tear him into pieces. So the masters of various countries came out to catch this mysterious hacker. Unfortunately, they never dreamed that the opponent would have an artificial intelligence, coupled with advanced hardware, and the modern network would be like its own backyard to it. It made those masters run around in circles. Su Wei didn't care about these, and still used satellites to explore and scan. However, this is a deep mountain forest, and countless vegetation blocked the sky, and no human figures could be seen. Even using thermal imaging would be useless, and it would be blocked by countless animals living in the jungle. But Su Wei did not give up, and used the supercomputing power of artificial intelligence to identify real-time images. For modern technology, no computer can withstand such a high computing speed, but smart bracelets can. It just takes a little time. Time passed by. Shang Wenli and his team adjusted their direction several times and searched a large area, but still did not find any clues. Those mercenaries seemed to have disappeared. Ling. Suddenly, Su Wei's phone vibrated. He hurriedly took it out to check. The artificial intelligence had already found that in an inconspicuous jungle photo, a very vague figure was circled on the treetops, but it was certain that he was not wearing a Xia country military uniform. Soon, the artificial intelligence locked the coordinates, which were actually dozens of miles east. Su Wei was confused. Wasn't that the direction to the Xia country? What did these people want to do? After a while, the artificial intelligence circled another photo. Compared with the previous coordinates, the other party was doing a reverse arc motion. Soon, the artificial intelligence simulated a rough trajectory. With a basis, the probability of satellite capture was also increasing. Soon the third coordinate was found. After correction, the simulated trajectory became clearer. It can be seen that the other party wanted to do the opposite. In this way, they skipped a large-scale search of the Xia army and crossed the border from the place where the Xia army had searched. Although this method takes more time, it is the safest, and it can even confuse the army of the Great Xia country and give them an opportunity. Stop. Discovering the enemy's trick, Su Wei immediately stopped the team. Su Wei, what's wrong? Shang Wenfei asked hurriedly. I think we should search from this side. Su Wei pointed to the east. Nonsense, how could they flee to the hinterland? Isn't that courting death? Shang Wenli jumped up immediately. This side has been searched, and there are still a large number of soldiers defending the border. If it were me, I would hide in the hinterland first, wait for a large-scale search, and then escape from the encirclement from behind, and then cross the border in one fell swoop. Su Wei couldn't produce any evidence, so he had to say so. Shang Wenli and others looked at the satellite map and fell silent. This possibility is not impossible, and the fact that there is no clue after searching for so long can also explain something. But what if the other party is deliberately creating confusion? If they gave up the route, wouldn't it just give the other party an opportunity? We have to ask our superiors for instructions on this matter. Shang Wenli frowned as he looked at the map. It's too late, Su Wei refused outright. Judging from the latest discoveries of artificial intelligence, the other party has accelerated. Soldiers must obey orders and must not act without authorization. Shang Wenli's face turned ugly. What about the cooperation? Generals are not subject to military orders when they are away from home. How about this, Captain Shangwen? You continue to execute orders, and I will take my people to verify. Su Wei said that he was about to lead his men out of the team. Chen Long and others naturally followed his lead. Su Wei, Shang Wenli shouted and rushed over to block the way. In addition to searching for enemies and rescuing people, He also had the task of protecting Su Wei's absolute safety. How could he be allowed to act alone? Captain Shengwen, you are a soldier and you have to execute orders. But I am not, I am just here to save my parent's son, so please get out of the way. Su Wei's voice became cold. No one could stop this. Uncle Li, Su Wei, please talk nicely. Shangwen Fei hurried over to persuade him. There is no time. Get out of the way. Su Wei took a wrong step and wanted to bypass Shangwen Li, but the other party also took a wrong step and continued to block him. Su Wei was angry and threw a punch. Boy, don't be so arrogant. Shangwen Li was not a pushover either, and he slapped Su Wei's fist with a palm leaf fan. Bang! The fists and palms collided, making a dull sound. Shangwen Li was actually forced to retreat half a step, and Su Wei took the opportunity to pass through and disappeared into the dense woods. Chen Long and others hurriedly chased after him. Such a result surprised others, including Shangwen Li himself. You know, Shangwen Li is a diamond-level master, but he was actually pushed back half a step by Su Wei. Although there is some contempt in it, it also shows how strong Su Wei is. Uncle Li, are you okay? Shangwen Fei asked with a worried look on his face. I'm fine. Who the hell is he? Shangwen Li seemed to have been slapped twice in the face, and it hurt like a fire. Let's talk about this later. What should we do now? Shangwen Fei asked hurriedly. Let's go. Follow them. Shangwen Li could only give the order. In the order, Su Wei's safety was above all else. Yes, so everyone immediately chased after Su Wei and the others. Since the time interval was short, they quickly caught up with Su Wei and the others. But both sides tacitly did not speak, and Su Wei led the way and ran towards an unknown direction. Chapter 167 Encounter. On the way, Su Wei kept peeking at his phone to correct his route. Artificial intelligence had already planned a route for him to intercept the other party. Finally, more than half an hour later, the two sides met at the first encounter point calculated by artificial intelligence. Bang, bang, bang. The other side also discovered the arrival of Su Wei and others, and took the lead in firing, with bullets penetrating the dense forest and hitting branches and leaves. Su Wei jumped hard, dodged a wave of bullets, and hid behind a big tree. Others also hid. At this moment, Shangwen Li and Shangwen Fei were shocked that they actually found it. The key is, how did he do it? Unfortunately, there is no time to ask now, just open fire directly. Where is the gunfire? At this time, a tall foreign man with white skin jumped up from his seat in an open space a few miles away from Su Wei and others. Old cat, it's the butcher's side, a short mercenary with dark skin, thick lips answered. Heepy, ask what's going on, Old cat asked. It's a soldier from Xia country. Heepy turned on the communicator and answered after asking. In order to hide, they all shut down all communication devices. What? How many people? The old cat's face changed when he heard this. Not many, a dozen or so. It shouldn't be a large force. Heepy continued to listen to the information coming from the communicator. Then there is still a chance. Notify Hawkeye and kill them. The old cat's face returned to calm again. Yes, Heepy immediately called Hawkeye on the communicator. He was a sniper in the poisonous wolf spider team and also a biochemical soldier. His eyes were enhanced, similar to Zhang Ling's sniper expertise. Call Hawkeye, Hawkeye got it, kill those guys who are in the way, got it. The communicator fell silent. The old cat here did not sit back, but turned to the side. There were several burly mercenaries guarding the hostages. And the hostages were Su's father, Su's mother and the private tour guide Liu Minimum. Take them and continue on the road. The old cat glanced at the three hostages, and then said to the mercenaries on the side. Yes, sir. Several mercenaries immediately pointed their guns at the hostages and asked them to stand up. Xiao Liu, what did they say just now? Su's father helped Su's mother stand up and whispered to Liu Min beside him. They also heard the gunshots, but they didn't know what happened. Su's father, they said a group of our soldiers came, but they were not afraid at all, and they said they would kill them. Liu Min's face was pale, and she looked very scared. This morning, this group of mercenaries suddenly attacked their vehicles and hijacked them here. Jin Kai, Su's mother also looked pale, and was very scared. She looked at her husband helplessly. She had never seen such a battle when she grew up in peacetime. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Nothing will happen, Su's father hurriedly comforted her softly. Yet, Su's mother nodded with relief. At least her husband would always be with her, and that was enough. Go, Go. The mercenaries raised their guns to intimidate, and drove the three people to speed up and continue to move forward. Sui was fighting fiercely. They had confirmed that the mercenaries standing in front of them were blood butchers. There were only 7 or 8 of them, but they were all veterans of the battlefield. And they were all retired biochemical soldiers and even aliens, with explosive combat power. Otherwise, they would not dare to easily enter the border of the Great Xia Kingdom, which has always been known as a mercenary restricted area. Bang! In the fierce battle between the two sides, a special bullet was mixed in the hail of bullets and shot towards Xianlong. A Xianlong soldier who had just raised his gun to shoot was hit in the thigh by the special bullet. The bullet exploded and tore off one of the Xianlong soldier's legs. The soldier couldn't help but wail in pain and fell to the ground, shaking all over because of the severe pain. Sniper, be careful to hide. Shang Wenfei, who was also a sniper, immediately discovered the abnormality and shouted loudly to remind everyone. Everyone hurriedly hid behind the bunker to avoid being targeted by the sniper. Fair, can you suppress him? Shang Wenli on the side asked anxiously. The hostage taker was a poisonous wolf spider, but if the blood butcher was here, they should not be far away. But this damn sniper not only made them lose their numerical advantage, but also dared not show their heads. At this rate, they could only watch the other party run away from under their noses. I'm in trouble. Shang Wenfei habitually touched her back, but it turned out to be lonely. Then she remembered that her AMR2 was taken away by Sui. What's wrong? Fair, you should hurry up, Shang Wenli couldn't help but urge. Uncle Li, I lent my gun to Sui. Shang Wenfei looked ashamed. At this moment, she regretted very much that she was angry with Sui at that time. What? Oh, isn't this delaying things? Shang Wenli was so anxious that he stared. Can ordinary people use a sniper rifle? Not to mention the special modified version. In the hands of people who don't know how to use it, it is not much better than a fire stick. At this moment, a Xianlong soldier who wanted to rescue the wounded was shot in the head by the opponent's sniper as soon as he stood up. Half of his head exploded instantly, and the scarlet blood turned into a puff of mist, wafting in the air. Don't move, whoever moves again, I won't spare him, Shang Wenli roared with red eyes. The first shot was obviously a deliberate disability by the opponent's sniper, just to attract more teammates to rescue and make it easier for him to kill. Without a sniper rifle to suppress the opponent can shoot recklessly, and they have no way to stop him. I'll go find Sui. Shang Wenfei was so anxious that tears welled up in her eyes. As she said that, she was about to get up and rush in the direction of Sui. Are you looking for death? Shang Wenli was quick-eyed and quick-handed, and held Shang Wenfei down. The opponent was obviously not an ordinary person. Even if Shang Wenfei was an ancient warrior, it would be difficult for her to resist special firearms. But no buts. Shang Wenli interrupted Shang Wenfei in a cold voice. The gunfire on the battlefield has stopped. The Xianlong soldiers dare not show their heads. It would be a waste of bullets for the blood butcher to shoot again. For a moment, the Xianlong soldier with a broken leg was the only one left on the battlefield, moaning softly. He was gritting his teeth to restrain himself, but the severe pain still made him gasp violently. This made everyone in Xianlong feel very depressed. Bang! Seeing that there was no movement, the opponent's sniper shot the other leg of the injured soldier again, and the severe pain made him unable to hold back and scream. Fuck! The Xianlong soldiers were furious and wanted to rush up and cut the sniper into pieces. Captain, let me go! Captain, let me go! The Xianlong soldiers, one by one, took the initiative to ask for battle and indignation. Shut up! Shang Wenli's eyes were red, and the muscles on his face were twitching, looking as ferocious as a ghost. Haha, scouts, this is not the place for you. The training ground is your home, don't embarrass yourself, go back, the bloody butcher on the opposite side shouted and cursed. It was like adding fuel to the fire, stimulating the war dragon soldiers to be furious. Damn it, don't think I'm afraid of you just because I have a broken gun, Shang Wenli said as he was about to get up and rush out. Wait a minute, look, Qianlong stopped Shang Wenli and pointed in a direction. Everyone looked over and saw Sui, who was hiding in the depression, climbing up carefully. What was he going to do? Sniper? A series of questions with question marks suddenly appeared in everyone's mind. Chapter 168 Blind Sniper. Sui, don't move, Shang Wenfei shouted at Sui in panic. However, Sui just waved his hand, as if to reassure her. After that, Sui continued to climb up. Previously, In order to avoid bullets, he slipped into this depression, resulting in insufficient vision to find the opponent's sniper, so he could only climb out first. Shangwen Li felt bitter in his heart because of the unauthorized actions one after another. If Su Wei had any mishap, how would he explain to Lei Lao? This unlucky child, why doesn't he let people save their worries? Su Wei's movements were light and fast, and he climbed to the edge of the depression in a blink of an eye. At this moment, he stopped, took off the AMR-2 on his back, and made a few fine adjustments. The opponent's sniper just fired 3 shots, and Su Wei heard the last 2 shots clearly. According to Zhang Ling's teachings, he has already judged some of the opponent's situation. After making adjustments, Su Wei took a deep breath and then made a gesture to Qianlong to look at each other. The latter understood immediately, took off his helmet, and slowly emerged from the bunker with his gun. Bang! A bullet flew past the helmet, leaving a spark. Bang! At the same time, Su Wei stood up, raised his gun, and fired, all in one go, with almost no aiming process. Bang! 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 The bloody butcher's gun immediately swept towards Su Wei. But before the bullets came, Su Wei retreated back to the bottom of the depression. A burst of bullets made the earth and rocks fly, but it was just a lonely shot. Quiet. The surroundings suddenly became extremely quiet. Su Wei changed his position and quietly moved forward, slowly extended the sniper rifle, and then looked through the scope at the place where the shot was just fired. Nice. Perfect. The opponent's sniper had been shot in the head, and the powerful kinetic energy of the bullet sprayed blood high up, dyeing the big tree behind him red. Help! Su Wei immediately shouted to Shangwen Li and others. Damn! It's done? Shangwen Fei and others were unable to conceal their shock. Brother, are you cheating? And you have automatic aiming? What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and save people! Su Wei stared at the scope, but he didn't see anyone saving people out of the corner of his eye, so he hurriedly said. If he doesn't save people, he will bleed out. Save people. Quick! Shangwen Li was the first to react, and he rushed out first, followed by other War Dragon soldiers. Bang! The AMR-2 in Su Wei's hand sounded again, but this time it was very close, and the body of a mercenary fell to the ground like a broken sack, with half of his head missing. It turned out that he was hiding behind the big tree, and when he saw someone rushing out, he wanted to take the opportunity to shoot. As a result, as soon as he showed his head, he was shot dead by Su Wei. The situation was reversed in an instant. This is the power of snipers. Ditch, ditch, ditch. The blood butcher mercenary realized that his sniper had been shot dead by the opponent's sniper. With such a terrifying sniper, what else can they do? Team leader Bob immediately ordered a retreat. Huh? You want to leave? Too late. Su Wei snorted coldly, pulled his finger, and pressed the trigger. Bang! With a gunshot, another mercenary fell to the ground, with a hole as big as a bowl in his chest, deader than dead. To deal with these enhanced humans, the brain and heart are the fatal points. Su Wei fired a total of 7 shots, including the opponent's sniper, killing 7 mercenaries, achieving a terrifying 100% hit rate. Such a result made Shangwen Fei sigh. Especially the opening shot that decided the outcome, it was simply a godlike operation. Su Wei put away the gun with some regret. It was a pity that team leader Bob sneaked away while Su Wei was shooting others. Otherwise, it would be a group wipe. When he walked up to the crowd, he felt that the atmosphere was extremely heavy. What's wrong? Su Wei asked Qianlong in a low voice. Boss, the wound is too big, the bleeding can't be stopped, I'm afraid it's too late to save him, Qianlong said with a sad face. Both legs were broken by sniper rifles, blood flowed out like water, but everyone was helpless. Don't panic, let me try. Su Wei thought of the golden wound aerosol at the first time, and quickly reached into his arms and took out an orange-yellow medicine from the space. Make way, Su Wei said, pushing away the people around him and squeezed in front of the injured. His face was pale as paper, his eyes were silent, and he was already in a state of near death. Without saying a word, Su Wei opened the medicine and poured it on the 2 wounds. What are you doing? Shangwen Li almost exploded and grabbed Su Wei's hand, but unfortunately he was half a beat slower, and the medicine in Su Wei's hand had been poured out. Save him, Su Wei said with a matter-of-fact attitude, pushing Shangwen Li's hand away. Stay away, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. Save him? You are. Look, the bleeding has stopped. Just as Shangwen Li was about to get mad, a soldier shouted in surprise. Everyone hurriedly looked in the direction of the sound. Sure enough, the wound that was originally bleeding like a spring was reducing at a speed visible to the naked eye. In about a few minutes, the bleeding stopped, and the wound showed signs of scabbing. This was really amazing. However, the soldier had lost too much vitality, and simply sealing the wound would not be very effective. If he was not treated in time, he would still die of weakness. Su Wei took out another golden medicine from his arms, pried open the soldier's mouth and poured it into him. This time, no one spoke again, and they all watched quietly, waiting for a miracle to happen. Cough cough cough, the miracle really happened. In the same few minutes, the dying soldier woke up. Although he was still very weak, anyone with a discerning eye could see that his complexion was much better, and there was absolutely no problem for him to survive. Thank you, Shang Wenli shook Su Wei's hand sincerely, with a grateful look on his face. You're welcome. They're all here for my business. Su Wei shook his head, but his mood did not improve. After all, a soldier had already died, and his parents were still missing. Xiao Hu, take 2 people to escort the wounded to the rescue point, and the rest, chase them. Shang Wenli naturally understood Su Wei's mood and immediately gave orders. So, everyone set off again and chased in the direction where Bloody Butcher Bob fled. At the same time, Su Wei did not relax the satellite monitoring. When he found that the target was just a few kilometers away, he rushed out first. Shang Wenli and others followed him without saying a word this time. This shows that Su Wei has already branded the mark of a strong man in the hearts of these soldiers. On the other side, Bloody Butcher Bob ran like a dog and finally caught up with the footsteps of the poisonous wolf spider. Old Cat, the butcher is back. Hippie rushed to the front and told the leader as soon as possible. Is everything solved? Old Cat asked casually without caring. In his opinion, if the number of people is equal, no one can escape from Hawkeye's sniping. Only he came back. Hei-Pai's face was very solemn. What? What the hell? Where's Hawkeye? Lao Mao almost jumped up. It had only been a short time, and only one person came back. Could it be that the ceiling of Xia country, the heavenly Dao level boss, took action? This shouldn't be. Those old monsters would not move easily. How could they appear here? Killed by the opponent's sniper, Hei-Pai meticulously conveyed the information brought back by Butcher Bob. Fuck. 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 Lao Mao was so angry that he jumped on the spot. Hawkeye was a trump card of the poison wolf spider, and he didn't expect it to be lost here. When did Hanlong produce such a terrifying sniper? They didn't even have any news. Chapter 169 Demon Blood. Old Cat, what should we do now? Hei-Pai waited for Old Cat to vent for a while before asking. Being targeted by such a sniper is definitely a very dangerous thing. Go call the butcher. Old Cat gradually calmed down his anger. At this point, no matter how angry he was, it would not solve the problem. After losing Hawkeye, he had to complete this mission, otherwise he would not only fail to catch the gangster, but also get a wife. Yes, Hei-Pai said and was about to turn around and leave. Wait, by the way, notify the Thornblade to Kush in the rear. Old Cat thought about it and called Hei-Pai again. Yes, Hei-Pai immediately ran to pass the order and brought the man over. Are you still worthy of the title of Butcher? Looking at the embarrassed Butcher Bob, Old Cat asked sternly. Old Cat, that man is a devil. He shot Hawkeye with one shot from hundreds of meters away without even aiming. We are just a little bird in his eyes. Hit him however you want. He is the Butcher. Butcher Bob shouted at Old Cat with excitement. Coward. Are you doing charity by strengthening the Empire? Why don't you rush up and die with the enemy? Old Cat shouted at Butcher Bob with a sullen face. Bob turned pale and couldn't speak. Now, in the name of the commander, I order you to go back and fight. As he said that, Old Cat took out a scarlet potion from his bag and handed it over. No. No. You can't do this to me. Looking at the scarlet potion, Bob's face was almost collapsed. Think about your wife and your daughter. They need your sacrifice in exchange for the Empire's support, Old Cat said expressionlessly. This knife undoubtedly stabbed Bob's vital point. Everyone thought he was a butcher who killed without blinking an eye, but he also had a true love hidden deep in his heart. It was just that in order to seek revenge, he chose to be strengthened, and the price was that he would never betray. That's why he had to pretend to be a ruthless person. In the end, the butcher took the scarlet potion and was taken away by the other 2 mercenaries. In name, it was reinforcement, but in reality it was surveillance. Either kill the enemy or be killed by the enemy. Order to speed up. After the butcher left, Lao Mao immediately ordered to break through to the nearest border line with all his strength. Now, there was no time to hide the traces. Bang bang bang. Not long after Su Wei and his team chased them, they were attacked by another mercenary team. The opponent's firepower was very strong, so Su Wei and his team had to stop temporarily. Bang bang. Su Wei's sniper rifle began to show its power, and it blew up the heads of two mercenaries, weakening the opponent's firepower. Shangwen Li also led his men to rush up, and as the strength of the two sides decreased, the Thornblade was soon defeated. At this moment, a beast-like roar was heard, and the earth shook. A 3-meter-tall red-skinned humanoid monster rushed out, knocking down countless trees along the way. Yes, he was the butcher who had been injected with the scarlet potion. However, at this moment, he had lost his original appearance. Except for the lack of wings, he looked like a demon from hell. This was exactly the effect of the scarlet potion, which could instantly make a person 10 times stronger, but the price was to turn into a monster and fight to death. It also had a creepy name, Devil's Blood. Damn. King level. Looking at this red-skinned monster, Shangwen Li's scalp was numb. He was only diamond level, and he couldn't choke at all, okay? There was no information about the king level in the intelligence. Roar. The red-skinned monster was not polite. There was no reason in his eyes, and his mind was full of killing and destruction. When he saw the people of Hanlong, he immediately rushed up and wanted to tear it apart. Bang! The AMR-2 in Su Wei's hand roared again. He could hit such a big target with his eyes closed. But this time, the harvest was minimal. The bullet made of alloy penetrated the skin of the red-skinned monster, but was stuck by the bones, and could not hurt the brain at all. The severe pain stimulated him to be more violent, and he rushed towards Su Wei frantically. Wherever he passed, the ground seemed to be plowed. Su Wei, be careful, boss, Shangwen Fair and Chen Long could not help but remind him. The red-skinned monster was not slow, and soon rushed to Su Wei. Su Wei quickly dropped his sniper rifle and fired his hammer. Boom! It was like a cannonball explosion, directly clearing the forest. The red-skinned monster just paused for a moment, and Su Wei was shocked and flew backwards. A fishy smell spread in his throat, and he was actually injured. Is this the strength of the king level? After Su Wei landed, he looked at the red-skinned monster, and his heart was full of fighting spirit. But when he thought of the safety of his parents, he had to calm down and find the fastest solution. Roar. The red-skinned monster roared at Su Wei, but did not charge again for the time being, as if he was afraid of him. Su Wei, you take the people first, we will trap it. Just when Su Wei was about to take out the modified sniper rifle, Shangwen Li rushed over with his men. Although he was only a diamond, with the help of his teammates, he should be able to trap it for a while. Rescue is on the way, and now everything is prioritized to save people. Okay, please, Chen Long, let's go, Su Wei agreed immediately. After that, he took Chen Long and others to continue chasing. Roar. Seeing that the prey was about to leave, the red-skinned monster was not willing to let it go, and rushed over immediately. But it was blocked by Shangwen Li and Shangwen Fair. It was so angry that it immediately pounded its hands and feet on the ground and roared. Let's put this matter aside for the time being. Su Wei resisted the blood boiling in his chest and continued to charge, but he still took the time to take out a healing potion and drank it. The painful place in his chest was immediately wrapped in a coolness, which was very comfortable, and the injuries he suffered began to recover slowly. On the way, he dealt with 2 more mercenaries with thorns and finally caught up with a poisonous wolf spider team. Bang! Su Wei swung the sniper rifle in his hand while jumping, and the bullet flew out in a cutting arc. The 2 lagging mercenaries were immediately beheaded. Scared, Lao Mao and others immediately hid. Such a magical sniper shooting technique has never been seen before. In order to ensure the safety of Su's father and mother, Chen Long and others did not dare to shoot casually. Lao Mao seemed to see through this and immediately ordered his men to open fire at full power, intending to drown Su Wei. For a while, bullets rained down on Su Wei's position. Unfortunately, Su Wei had already changed his position, and the sniper rifle in his hand quietly stretched out. And with a bang, he killed another mercenary. In this way, Lao Mao and his men fought alone, but paid the price of 3 of their men being shot on the head. Stop, let the sniper come out, otherwise we will kill the hostages. The poisonous wolf spider without a sniper was very passive. Seeing that the team members were shot in the head one after another, Lao Mao pointed his gun at Su's father, Sue's mother and Liu Min asked them to stand up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Delaying Tactics. Rustle. After a sound of trampling branches, Su Wei slowly walked out holding the AMR-2 in one hand. Boss, Chen Long, who was hiding in the dark, was nervous and clenched his fists, but he was afraid of disrupting Su Wei's plan and did not dare to act rashly. Xiao Wei, Su's mother's eyes turned red instantly. If she hadn't been supported by Su's father, she would have rushed forward regardless of everything. Dad, Mom, your son is here to take you back, Su Wei greeted his parents with a smile, as if the tension around him did not exist. As he said that, he threw the gun in his hand aside. Lu Jiu Si Su Wei, Lao Mao asked Su Wei in surprise in a poor Daxia language. What do you want from me? Su Wei's eyes tightened. Sure enough, he came for him. Although Lao Mao could understand some Daxia language, he could not understand some combinations. He looked at Su Wei with a puzzled look. He asked you what you wanted to see him for. Hei Pai, who was standing by, quickly translated it in Mi language. Stealing, Lao Mao waved his hand and asked Hei Pai to tell Su Wei directly. Someone wants to see you, but they can't make an appointment. So they asked your parents to go. Now that you are here, come with us. Hei Pai spoke Daxia language very fluently, but his pronunciation was a little inaccurate, which sounded strange. I'll go with you, no problem, but you have to release them first, Su Wei agreed without hesitation. Anyway, he could teleport to the wasteland world, and it wouldn't be dangerous to be a hostage. No, they have to wait until they cross the border before they can be released, Lao Mao refused directly. Hei Pai translated it to Su Wei again. After hearing this, Su Wei's face darkened instantly, but now in addition to Lao Mao and Hei Pai, there are 3 mercenaries, a total of 5 guns pointing at Su's father and mother. Su Wei didn't dare to take a risk. Bullets don't have eyes, and he would never allow any accidents to happen. Xiaohu, don't agree to them, leave quickly. Don't worry about us, Su's mother shouted immediately. She would rather die than drag her son down. Although Su's father didn't say anything, he had a determined look on his face, and his fingers quietly pinched the metal chain between his hands, and a slight force left fingerprints. Before, he was also cautious and didn't act rashly. Now that his son is here, the chance may be greater. As long as Su Wei wants to attack, he will immediately break the metal chain that binds him and give it a try. Okay, no problem, Su Wei agreed loudly. Lao Mao and others didn't expect Su Wei to agree so readily, and they were all a little stunned. Use this first, lock yourself up. Lao Mao was the first to react, and he bumped Hippie with his elbow. The latter immediately took out a pair of alloy handcuffs from his backpack and threw them at Su Wei's feet. Okay, Su Wei smiled slightly, picked up the alloy handcuffs with his toes, and locked his hands with 2 clicks. Boss, Chen Long and others could no longer hold back and rushed out with guns, making the atmosphere between the 2 sides tense again. Let your people retreat, Hei Pai shouted nervously. At this time, they did not want to have another conflict. Chen Long, retreat, Su Wei quickly winked at Chen Long, which meant that everything was under control. This, although Chen Long did not understand. He still cooperated with a very unwilling expression and led his people to slowly retreat more than 10 meters. Nice. Come over slowly, and it's best if we can see both hands. Lao Mao enjoyed the feeling of controlling the situation very much, pointing his gun at Su Wei and commanding. Hei Pai naturally translated it into Daxia language immediately. No problem, Su Wei smiled faintly, raised his hands and walked towards Su's father and mother. During the whole process, Lao Mao and his guns never left the hostages, which showed that they were very afraid of Su Wei's shooting skills. Hiss, just when Su Wei was about to approach Su's father and mother, Lao Mao suddenly called for a stop. With Su Wei's doubtful eyes, Lao Mao asked Hei Pai to search Su Wei's body. After finding no weapons, he let Su Wei join the hostages. Now, Chen Long and his team dared not act rashly. Xiao Wei, you are so confused, Su's mother grabbed Su Wei's hand and kept complaining. She and Su's father died, and there was no regret. But her son was different. Even the eldest grandson was not left behind? How could she take this risk? Mom, it's okay. Did they say someone wanted to date me? Nothing will happen, Su Wei smiled and comforted. It was already so late, and Su Wei still had a playful look, which made Su's mother angry. Go, Lao Mao immediately urged, and the harvest now was far beyond expectations. As long as Su Wei could be brought out of Xia country, he and his team members would be able to obtain wealth that they could not spend in several lifetimes, and even live a normal life without being restricted by the mission. Su Wei and his companions were driven to the front, escorted by Lao Mao and Heipai, while the remaining 3 mercenaries followed behind, monitoring every move of Qianlong's men. 3, 2, 1, get down. Su Wei, who was walking in the front, suddenly shouted and pushed the 3 men down. He turned around, and a light blue light shield the size of a door panel appeared in front of him. All this happened in a flash, and Lao Mao and his companions' attention was mostly on Qianlong and his companions behind them, and they were half a beat slower. Bang bang bang. Lao Mao and his companions reacted and fired decisively, but all the bullets were blocked by the light blue light shield. What? Superpower? Lao Mao was shocked. He never thought that Su Wei was actually an alien. No. There is a special metal in the alloy handcuffs. After wearing them, the alien superpowers will be restricted. How can he still use them? Even though he had thousands of questions in his mind, at this moment, Lao Mao could not afford to think too much. He dodged without hesitation, his figure as swift as a raccoon cat. Bang! A strange-looking sniper suddenly appeared in Su Wei's hand, and he raised his hand and fired a shot. The black man in front of him was killed instantly, and he didn't even have time to use his superpowers. But even if he activated his superpowers, it would be useless, because Zhang Ling's modified sniper couldn't even withstand the S-level mutant beast. Bang, bang, bang. The people behind him immediately pressed forward, and Qianlong directly abandoned his gun and rushed forward alone. With his level 8 enhanced physique, he instantly killed a mercenary who was behind. The remaining 2 were also strangled quickly with the help of his companions. Then several people quickly rushed to Su's father and mother and protected them. Su Wei once again turned the tide of the battle, not only saving the hostages, but also making Lao Mao instantly become a commander without troops. Su Wei, seeing the people he brought with him die tragically, Lao Mao roared Su Wei's name angrily, wanting to cut him into pieces to relieve his hatred. Bang! Bang! Without saying anything, Su Wei used his sniper rifle. Damn you, you dare to come to Daxia to act wildly, and you still have the right to argue with me. Su Wei fired 2 shots in a row, but unfortunately both were dodged by Lao Mao. The main reason was that Lao Mao's ability was agility, and it was difficult to lock onto his figure at a short distance. Chapter 171, Team Annihilation. AWW. The old cat was forced to jump up and down by Su Wei, and he howled in anger. With a sizzle, the old cat tore his shirt and turned into half-human, half-tiger appearance. But he looked more like a cat than a tiger, no wonder he was nicknamed the old cat. This was his ability, beast transformation. Not only could he increase his speed, but he could also attack with sharp claws, which was more lethal than the gun in his hand. AWW. The old cat, who had transformed, pounced on Su Wei swiftly. Su Wei immediately put away his modified sniper rifle, activated a death grip on his hand, and his palms were immediately covered with a layer of black, thin, fish scale-like metal film. Tear. The old cat grew sharp claws on both of his hands, crossed and drew 2 claw marks in the air, and pounced on Su Wei. Cannon hammer. Su Wei accumulated power in his fist and swung it out in one breath, like a cannonball out of a gun, tearing the air and making a thunderous sound. Bang! The old cat was immediately blown away by a punch. The hand that collided with Su Wei's fist broke 2 claws, and he wailed in pain. How is it possible? Su Wei's fist actually resisted the attack of the claws. The old cat had not intended to compete with Su Wei in strength, but only wanted to use his claws to cripple one of his hands. As a result, the claw attack was ineffective and he was forced to compete in strength. This was not his strong point, and he immediately fell behind. 8 Extreme shock. Su Wei kicked his feet and pursued the victory. He punched the ground, although he did not hit the target, but the surroundings were shaken, and the old cat's figure suddenly showed a slight stagnation. 8 Extreme collapse. Su Wei instantly opened up, and the huge strength of his body gathered in his fists, and the air made an unbearable hissing sound. Fuck, the old cat was scared out of his wits. God knows where this guy got so much strength. It was too late to dodge. The old cat gritted his teeth and used his claws to hit Su Wei's heavy fist. Crackling and banging. It looked like one punch, but in fact, it was many punches. It was just completed in an instant, but the blow was real. Every time the old cat took a punch, his resistance decreased by 1 point. And every time Su Wei threw a punch, his strength increased by 1 point. With one increasing and the other decreasing, how could the old cat defend himself? In the end, he was blown away by Su Wei's punch. A tiger Balaji's head also became like a pig's head. Oh, no, it should be said that it was like a fat cat. Fuck. You all have to die. The old cat felt that there was no part of his body that didn't hurt. God knows how many punches that grandson hit him. In anger, he took out a syringe from his arms, which contained a scarlet medicine, which was the terrifying devil's blood. Bang! But he forgot that Su Wei was also a sniper expert. He didn't give him a chance to inject. The modified sniper suddenly appeared, and then suddenly shot, and then broke his arm holding the syringe. The powerful kinetic energy almost tore his entire arm apart. Even though the body resistance after the transformation was good, the old cat was still stimulated by the severe pain and screamed repeatedly. Tell me who hired you? Maybe I can let you go. Su Wei locked the sniper in his hand on the old cat's head. With his current injured body, it was impossible for him to escape. Fuck. Come on, the old cat was very tough. After cursing Su Wei, he used the remaining claw to pierce his head from bottom to top. You have guts. Although he was an enemy, Su Wei couldn't help but give a thumbs up to the old cat. After confirming that the old cat was dead, Su Wei put the demon blood into the space. Before the old cat died, the thing he took out to turn the tables must be not simple, so he took it to the wasteland for Qin Lao to study first. Dad, Mom, are you okay? At this time, Su Wei was busy asking about the three people's conditions. We are fine. Xiaohu, how about you? Su's mother was still in shock and pulled her son's hand to look left and right. Fortunately, she didn't see any injuries. I'm fine too, the problem is solved, let's go. Su Wei was still worried about the red-skinned monster, wondering if Shangwen Li and the others could hold on. With that, the group set out on the road back. As for the corpses, someone would naturally come to deal with them. Soon, Su Wei and the others arrived at a place they had left before. The battle was still going on. A group of people were fighting hard with the red-skinned monster. The strongest Shangwen Li and Shangwen Fei were both injured. When Su Wei was about to take out the modified sniper rifle, the violent red-skinned monster suddenly stopped. Its huge body was like a ball with a hole in it, and it instantly deflated and turned into the appearance of a white-skinned man. Then, the man fell to the ground and bled from all 7 orifices. When the War Dragon soldiers came forward to check, he had already died. This result made Shangwen Li and Shangwen Fei feel uncomfortable. It turned out that they fought for a long time and it was all in vain. Looking at the man with blood gushing out of his 7 holes on the ground, Su Wei showed a thoughtful look. Could it be related to the Scarlet Potion? If a group of enemies who had been injected with the thing came, wouldn't they be invincible? This made Su Wei worried. It seemed that he had to increase the production of level 9 strengthening potions. Level 8 was not good enough. Knowing that the hostages had been rescued safely, everyone's hanging hearts were finally put down. The soldier in charge of communication immediately contacted the War Dragon headquarters and sent a helicopter to pick everyone up. While waiting, Shangwen Li sent people to clean up the battlefield and confirm the identities of the dead. Seeing that most people had external injuries, Su Wei took out another golden wound aerosol and sprayed everyone's wounds. Let everyone witness the miracle again. All wounds, big and small, stop bleeding and scabbed within a few minutes. It greatly reduces the risk of wound infection. It is really a must-have medicine for home travel. Hey, Su Wei, let me discuss something with you. Just as Su Wei was chatting with Su's father and mother, Shangwen Li came over with a thick face. Uncle Li, if you have something to say, please tell me. Su Wei was in a good mood at the moment, smiling like a flower. Do you have any stock of that medicine? Can you sell some to us? Shangwen Li said, gesturing the action of applying it to the wound. Who doesn't get injured in battle? What's more, Zhan Long, who is responsible for special operations, is often injured. If there is the medicine in Su Wei's hand, I don't know how many lives can be saved. This is temporarily out of stock. Su Wei didn't get much from Qin Lao. Oh, what brand is it? Where can I buy it? Shangwen Li was disappointed when he heard it, but he still asked with some reluctance. What a coincidence, Uncle Li. It is the Zoe brand produced by my company, the Golden Wound Aerosol. It will be mass-produced next month. Su Wei quickly started a wave of advertising. Is the effect the same as this? Hearing this, Shang Guanli rubbed his hands with joy. If it can be mass-produced, the value will be even greater. I just don't know what the effect will be after mass production. The effect will be somewhat reduced, but the wound will heal in more than 10 minutes, and no more than 20 minutes at most, Su Wei explained. This is also amazing. Shang Guanli heard this and his worries were relieved. Small wounds cannot be seen, but it is a miracle for larger wounds to heal in this time. If Uncle Li likes it, I will give you a box, Su Wei said with a smile. He suddenly realized that this Hanlong Special Operations Department will be a huge consumer group. He even thought about how to design the word special supply on the packaging. That's great, but you don't have to send it, we will purchase it, and we will purchase it specifically from you, Shang Guanli said immediately. One box is not enough. At least it will cost tens of thousands, and by then, everyone in this Hanlong Special Operations Department will have a bottle. Chapter 172, In-Depth Discussion. By the way, Su Wei, can that golden potion also be mass-produced? After agreeing on the matter of the Golden Wound Aerosol, Shang Guanli asked again with anticipation. Relatively speaking, the value of that potion that can bring back a dying person is immeasurable. Of this, not for the time being, Su Wei knew that he was talking about the life potion, and could only shake his head in embarrassment. He didn't want to make the existence of the life potion public for the time being. Oh, it doesn't matter. If it can be mass-produced, be sure to notify us. Shang Guanli was not too disappointed. It was natural that such a heaven-defying potion would be rare. Besides, Su Wei only said that it couldn't be produced for the time being, maybe it would be available in the future. In just half a day of getting along, Su Wei had brought him enough surprises. He had no doubt that Su Wei could create a miracle. Sure, Su Wei nodded in response. While the two were discussing, there was a sound of engines in the sky above their heads. There were as many as 6 helicopters sent to pick them up. In addition to taking them back, they also had to transport the bodies of the mercenaries. These are all evidences of crime. If they can find out something, Xianlong will have something to do. After Yu Shang Guanli made an agreement, the two sides said goodbye to each other. They were going back to Xianlong headquarters to make a post-war report. Su Wei and his team went directly back to Huidu City. Buzz! The propellers of the helicopter cut through the air and the silence. Under the afterglow of the setting sun, they flew towards Huidu City. Fair, I'll give it back to you, thank you. On the plane, Su Wei took off the AMR-2 on his back and gave it back to Shang Guanfair. You're welcome. Shang Guanfair took the sniper rifle with both hands, looking ashamed. After seeing Su Wei's marksmanship, she had serious doubts about herself and whether she was still qualified to be a sniper. The gun is broken, Su Wei asked hurriedly when he saw Shang Guanfair's sad expression. This gun was dropped by him, so it can't be so fragile, right? No. By the way, who did you learn sniping from? Shang Guanfair shook her head hurriedly and asked the question in her heart. A friend. Su Wei couldn't help but curl up his lips as he spoke. Zhang Ling's cold figure appeared in his mind, but he knew that under the cold appearance, there was a hot heart, even hotter than others. Can I meet him? Shang Guanfair's heart moved. Oh, I'm afraid there's no chance. Su Wei had a helpless expression on his face. What if they are separated by a world? How to meet? Record a video? Or take a photo? Several ideas emerged in his mind, but it seemed meaningless. Ah, that's such a pity. Shang Guanfair looked disappointed. Su Wei was so powerful, shouldn't that man be deified? Why are you crying? If you want to learn how to shoot a gun, I can teach you, Su Wei said with a smile on his face. He saw Shang Guanfair's little thoughts, but he had to complain that this little girl was also a stubborn person. Yes, then do you want to become his disciple? Shang Guanfair suddenly realized that she would be satisfied if she could reach 80% of Su Wei's level. No, let's just communicate with each other. Let me tell you, learning to shoot a gun should start with shooting a pistol. Do you know how to shoot? Su Wei waved his hand and took Zhang Ling's set directly. Yes. Oh, Shang Guanfair immediately turned into an obedient baby and nodded obediently. I'll tell you, shooting a pistol is not simple. This is this and that, taking advantage of the time on the road. The two actively, enthusiastically and deeply discussed the ultimate mystery of shooting. When they returned to Yunshujian, it was already 12 o'clock in the night. But the lights in No. 1 courtyard were bright. Grandpa Su, Xiaowei, He Shuang, Li Xiaoman and others were all there. Even Su Jiao and Fang Kaiokiao asked for leave from school and waited for news with everyone. Seeing that Su's father and mother had returned safely, everyone finally put their worries to rest. While everyone was there, Xiaowei called the chef of Gishixuan to prepare a table of sumptuous food in courtyard number 1. Since they learned that Su's father and mother had an accident, everyone had not eaten anything. Now that they were relieved, they were naturally hungry. The courtyard was filled with laughter and joy as before. Brother Long, how are Gong Fanson and the others injured? During the meal, Su Wei walked to Chen Long's table and sat down. The main reason was that there were too many people, so 3 tables were divided to accommodate them. Boss, Xianlong's people said that their injuries have stabilized, and they will be sent back after their injuries are healed, Chen Long replied. Gong Fanson and the others were taken back to Xianlong headquarters by Xianlong for treatment, so they didn't see them. That's good, let me know when they come back, give them a bonus, Su Wei nodded and said. They were seriously injured in order to protect their parents, and they deserved a reward. Thank you, boss, Chen Long said gratefully. By the way, do we have anyone who is good at investigation? Su Wei lowered his voice. Reconnaissance, yes, there is a man named Xiao Jun, who is from the reconnaissance company. After assessment, he is a candidate for key training. Chen Long immediately thought of a person. Okay, give him a task, go monitor Liu Min's every move, Su Wei said with a sharp look in his eyes. On the way back, Liu Mei was picked up by one of her friends, but Su Wei was still uneasy. Boss, do you suspect that she has a problem? Chen Long immediately understood the reason. Well, all this happened too coincidentally, although my parents' itinerary is not confidential, it is not easy to know. This group of mercenaries acted quickly and had clear goals. They must have obtained relevant detailed information, Su Wei analyzed. Indeed, it seems that she is the most suspicious. I'll arrange it right away, Chen Long said and got up and walked out. After a meal, it was already 2 or 3 in the morning. Everyone stayed in courtyard number 1. Anyway, there are enough rooms, and there are several vacant courtyards around. They are fully equipped with furniture and supplies. Cleaning and ventilation are also done on time, and you can move in at any time. After saying goodnight to everyone, Su Wei went upstairs to his room to sleep. There was no conversation all night. The next morning, Su Wei asked Jin Xiafang to send Su Jiao and Fang Kaiokiao to school. He drove to the cottage in Jingxiu Garden by himself. From there, he was teleported to the wasteland world. Mr. Qin, have you seen this thing? Arriving at the Phaeton base, Su Wei went straight to the medical department and found Mr. Qin, who was doing experiments. Huh? Let me see. Qin Hong was originally unhappy, but when he saw the new thing in Su Wei's hand, he immediately became excited. Su Wei handed the medicine to Qin Hong. Qin Hong carefully took out a small drop and put it into the instrument for analysis. Soon, a series of data and curves popped up on the big screen, which made Su Wei confused and even couldn't tell where to start. What a strange thing. Qin Hong was looking at it with great interest, shaking his head as he looked at it. Mr. Qin, what is this? Su Wei had no choice but to ask. It looks like the blood of some creature, but it is extremely corrosive. It also has the function of assimilating gene sequences. Wait, there is a gene lock in it. What the hell is this, boss? Where did you get it from? Qin Hong turned to Su Wei and asked. I picked it up. Su Wei once again blatantly acted like a rogue. Qin Hong was very upset. He could even pick up such a thing. You did nothing in your previous lives, just helping old ladies cross the road. Forget it, I found such a lame excuse, I despise you. Facing Qin Hong's resentful eyes, Su Wei could only smile awkwardly but decently. Chapter 173 The Old Man. Mr. Qin, do you know what it is used for? In the laboratory, Su Wei asked in a compromise. According to the current data, the biggest function of this thing is to strengthen other organisms. With a very high multiple, you can think of it as an enhanced version of the violent potion, but from the perspective of erosion and gene sequence assimilation, the fate of the carrier after use is probably not optimistic. Then there is the gene lock, which means that it can only be used by a specific group of organisms. This is the first time I have seen something so abnormal, complicated, and inconsistent. Qin Hong looked curious. Research is so interesting. The more you know, the more confused you become. So that's it. Su Wei felt relieved after hearing this. It seems that the red-skinned monster was catalyzed by this thing. Fortunately, it is only temporary and requires a specific group, so the number cannot be too large. Boss, if you need more data, I have to wait until I study it carefully before I can tell you. Qin Hong was obviously ordering him to leave. Well, take your time, Mr. Qin. I'm leaving first. Well, go ahead, go ahead. I won't see you off. With that, Qin Hong buried his head in the test bench and began a new exploration. After leaving the medical department, Su Wei went to the base headquarters. It has been rebuilt into a 3-story office building, which is magnificent compared to the 1- or 2-story houses around it. Boss, good news, our self-planted crops have a good harvest. As soon as he entered the door, Song Dan, who was sitting in the secretary's position, stood up and reported to Su Wei happily. Really? That's great. Have you tested the hazardous substances? Su Wei was more excited than anyone else when he heard it. Because this will indicate that the base can be self-sufficient and he no longer needs to work hard to carry supplies. Although not all, it will at least be much easier. Yet, the test done by Mr. Qin himself has met the human consumption standards. Song Dan was also sincerely happy. Agricultural recovery and crop mass production are the foundation of human recovery. This old man is very bad, Su Wei couldn't help but complain. Qin Hong didn't even mention a word to him just now. Haha, Mr. Qin is only obsessed with research and is indifferent to other things. Song Dan laughed when he heard it, and hurriedly explained, fearing that Su Wei would have some misunderstanding. I know, I'm just a little angry, Su Wei said with a wry smile. Boss, if you're really angry, just vent your anger on me. Looking at the little man in front of him, Song Dan had a funny face, and then whispered in Su Wei's ear like a dream. Boom. This is tantamount to pressing the start button of a nuclear bomb. Boom, an instant nuclear explosion. After an in-depth exchange, Su Wei and Song Dan began to plan a new base. The first thing is to set up a new department, the Ministry of Agriculture. Agricultural recovery is the top priority and the top priority for sustainable development. It cannot be sloppy. It happened that after the expansion of the base, a lot of idle land was left in the city, which could be used to develop the first batch of farmland. The base is not short of labor. Water source. The base has purified groundwater. The only cost is the chemicals used to purify hazardous substances. For other people, this is simply not worth the loss. But for Su Wei, the cost of each bottle of purification agent is less than 25 cents, and 100 bottles of purification agents are used per acre of land. In other words, the cost of purifying each acre of land is 250. A degree later, the soil will be polluted by rain and snow and other weather conditions. Every year, about 10 bottles of purification agents will be consumed per acre of land to maintain the content of hazardous substances in the soil within the standard requirements. The total cost is less than 300 yuan, which is really too cheap. After the planning, Song Dan went to arrange the relevant personnel without stopping. That afternoon, a group of people were pulled together to measure the idle land. White-gray lines fell one by one, and farmland was marked out one by one. Groups of survivors went to the land to reclaim. Suddenly, there was a feeling of agricultural revolution. The entire Phaeton base was full of prosperity. This is just the first stage. Next, the same promotion will be carried out in the other 4 sub-bases. After that, the surrounding areas outside the base can also be reclaimed. Of course, these are all later stories. Su Wei went to Yunnan to chat for a while to learn about the spiritual civilization construction of the base. Generally speaking, it is not bad, but there are also some bad signs. As the base becomes more and more prosperous, the laziness of some survivors begins to revive, and their lazy and slippery nature slowly reveals itself. This cannot be left alone. The spread of laziness is even faster than the virus. It just so happens that agricultural projects are starting to be launched, and a large number of labor forces are needed. Let Yuna and Song Dan discuss a feasible reward and punishment system. For unhealthy trends, all will be severely punished. Brother Su Wei, I don't want to be the Minister of Justice anymore. During the break, Yuna couldn't help but hug Su Wei's arm and said coquettishly. Oh, what's wrong? Su Wei hurriedly pulled Yuna and asked. It feels so boring, and some people are really annoying, just like sticky candy, begging for mercy, annoying to death, Yuna complained helplessly. Someone made a mistake, she couldn't just ignore it. But she couldn't bear to see them crying, making a fuss, and even hanging themselves. Is that so? Then who do you think is suitable to manage it? Su Wei nodded. It was indeed difficult for her to handle these interpersonal relationships at her age. I think Wu Ma is more suitable. There were several times when she mediated and convinced both parties, Yuna suggested immediately. I'll find time to talk to Wu Ma. If she is willing, then arrange it, Su Wei nodded. Relatively speaking, Wu Ma must know more about the ways of the world. It should be good for her to serve as the minister of the Ministry of Law. Okay, it's decided happily, thank you, Brother Su Wei. Yuna happily bit Su Wei's face. Relatively speaking, she prefers the feeling of fighting. But what about you? Are you going back to the armed forces? Su Wei stretched out his hand and pinched Yuna's chubby little cheeks. I just want to follow you. Yuna closed her eyes in enjoyment, letting Su Wei pinch her little face and make it round. Nana, hearing this, Su Wei's hands couldn't help but stiffen, and he felt a little guilty. I was just kidding you, Brother Su Wei. I want to become stronger, so let me go to the special forces. Fighting is the best teacher. Yuna opened her eyes, stretched out her hands and held Su Wei's hands, and said with full fighting spirit. Chapter 174, Drawing the Sword. Wu Ma agreed to the idea of going to the Ministry of Justice. So Su Wei formally appointed her as the Minister of the Ministry of Justice. Yuna returned to the Ministry of Armed Forces as the Deputy Minister, and succeeded Wu Ma, and concurrently served as the captain of the Bloody Rose Special Forces. Zhang Ling had no objection to this. Now the Ice and Fire twins are truly worthy of the name, belonging to the same Ministry of Armed Forces, one principal and one deputy, one big and one small, one ice and one fire. After arranging Yuna, Su Wei hurriedly returned to modern time. This incident scared Su Ma a lot, and he had to spend more time with her. Let's put it aside for now. It is said that after Shangwen Li arrived at the Zhanlong headquarters last night, he reported the mission process in detail to the minister Long Zhanayu, including the intention to order Jinshuang aerosol from Ziwei Pharmaceutical. Long Zhanayu had no objection to this. If the efficacy is really that good, it is also a guarantee for Zhanlong's soldiers. But this morning, Shangwen Li received another notice asking him to go to the minister's office. He could only end his short vacation and rush over. Report. Shangwen Li came to the door of the minister's office and shouted. Come in. A majestic voice came from the office. Shangwen Li pushed the door and walked in. He saw an energetic old man sitting in the minister's seat, and a middle-aged man wearing black-framed glasses stood behind him. They were Lei Lao and Secretary Liu, whom Su Wei had met in the Kyoto garden. Minister Long Zhanayu stood respectfully aside. Hello, Lei Lao. Shangwen Li immediately stepped forward and saluted in a standard military salute. Good, thank you for your hard work. Lei Lao smiled kindly. Fighting for Daxia is not hard, Shangwen Li answered loudly. Okay, don't be so serious. I just wanted to confirm a few questions when I asked you to come today. Lei Lao waved his hand, asking Shangwen Li to be more casual. Yes, Lei Lao. Shangwen Li still stood straight, like a bamboo pole. Did you participate in the whole battle yesterday? Lei Lao asked. Basically, yes, it's just that in the last battle, we fought separately from Su Wei to rescue the hostages. Shangwen Li recounted yesterday's experience in detail. What do you think of Su Wei's strength? Lei Lao was thinking about something while listening. Very strong. He doesn't have the aura of a diamond level yet, but I don't think he is a match for me if we fight to the death, Shangwen Li said without disguising. As a big diamond, he has already stood among the real strong men, but he still fears Su Wei who has not yet reached the diamond level. Oh. Is that so? Lei Lao seemed to have heard something very interesting. Yes, Shangwen Li assured in a firm tone. What an interesting little guy. After getting Shangwen Li's assurance, Lei Lao showed an intriguing smile and nodded to Long Zhanayu on the side. Shangwen Li, you should go back and rest first, Long Zhanayu said to Shangwen Li. Yes, Minister. With that, Shangwen Li saluted and turned to leave. Minister Long and Lei Lao were the only three people left in the office. Zhanayu, have those mercenaries been identified? Lei Lao asked Long Zhanayu. Yes, Lei Lao, it's the same as the intelligence information, Long Zhanayu answered with a serious face. Very good, then let's show the sword. Our little friend was frightened. We can't let him endure the grievance any longer. Lei Lao's eyes shot out a sharp light. Yes. Long Zhanayu stood at attention and saluted. In the next 2 days, the War Dragon Special Operations Department, the strong men below the Emperor level came out in full force, and carried out the largest operation since the establishment of the Special Operations Department. All mercenary organizations or individuals related to the Poison Wolf Spider, Blood Butcher, and Thornblade were wiped out, including their middlemen, arms sponsors, informants, etc., all of which were caught in one fell swoop. This is the so-called sword-showing operation. Silently announced to the world that he, Su Wei, was protected by the Great Xia Kingdom. If there are any more villains who dare to come and harass, they will be killed with a sharp sword. For a time, the desks of the bigwigs of the world's top forces all had a copy of the information about Su Wei of the Great Xia Kingdom, to avoid angering the Great Xia Kingdom because of him. However, this influence mostly existed abroad, and most people in the country did not know the existence of the Bright Sword operation. Even Su Wei himself did not know that the country had launched such a large-scale operation to vent his anger until old Xia called him. It brought a bloody storm to the foreign mercenary market. This made Su Wei's name a legend among foreign mercenaries. Old Xia, thank you, and thank you old Lei. On the phone, Su Wei sincerely thanked old Xia. Haha, we are all family, why should we be polite? Old Xia's hearty laughter indicated that he was in a good mood. This Bright Sword operation was not only to vent Su Wei's anger. It was also a deterrent to let those jumping clowns understand that the Great Xia Kingdom is not afraid of trouble, let alone causing trouble. Old Xia, have you tracked down the mastermind behind the scenes? Su Wei was more concerned about this. Yahoo, we found an employment information from a middleman of Poison Wolf Spider. The employer is Guo Minglian. Old Xia suddenly blurted out a shocking name. What? Guo Minglian? Su Wei was shocked. How could this guy be related to foreign mercenaries? Yes, after the collapse of the Guo Group, Guo Zhuke and Guo Mingguang, as the main responsible persons, have been sentenced to prison. Guo Minglian was spared punishment because he was a student and had never participated in the management of the Guo Group. Later, we found out that he went to Fen country and took refuge with a distant uncle. Unexpectedly, he secretly went to the United States in the end and used informants to establish a relationship with Poison Wolf Spider. According to the middleman's explanation, kidnapping your parents is to avenge you. Second, it is to exchange your father and brother who are imprisoned. Old Xia told Su Wei the information he had obtained one by one. Bastard, where did he get so much money? Su Wei couldn't help but curse, but he still had some questions in his heart. Guo's group has been sealed up, and all its assets have been frozen. How can Guo Minglian still have the money to hire mercenaries? You know, the cost of mercenaries is not cheap. That's unknown. Maybe it's the family assets that Guo had reserved before, or maybe there are some people with ulterior motives who are taking advantage of Guo Minglian's hatred and making a fuss about it, Old Xia said calmly. No matter which possibility it is, Guo Minglian must be eliminated. It's just that the other party is hiding in the United States now, which makes Zhonglong temporarily helpless. Well, I understand. By the way, Old Xia, did the tour guide find out anything? Su Wei secretly circled Guo Minglian's name in his mind, and then changed the subject. In addition to sending people to monitor, Su Wei also asked Old Xia to help check Liu Min's identity. Not yet. From her background, resume and social circle, she is very clean, Old Xia replied. In fact, they also included Liu Min in the investigation, but the other party was very clean, without any suspicious traces. Chapter 175 Being Disliked. After hanging up the phone with Mr. Xia, Su Wei couldn't help but fall into deep thought. If it wasn't Liu Min, who could it be? He had also used artificial intelligence to search for information about Liu Min, but everything he could find on the internet was normal. Xiaohu, Su's mother, who came down from upstairs, saw her son sitting in the living room in a daze and called out. Mom, why did you come down? Don't you want to sleep a little longer? Su Wei quickly got up and greeted him. No, I'm tired if I sleep too much, Su's mother rubbed her shoulders and said. Then I'll make breakfast for you, Su Wei said and was about to go to the kitchen. Xiaohu, you go and do your own thing, your dad is here, so you don't have to stay at home with me, Su's mother grabbed Su Wei and said. Mom, I'm not busy, Su Wei hurriedly comforted her. Okay, I know my son is filial, but you really don't have to accompany him, I'm fine now, Su's mother insisted. After the initial fear, she was no longer afraid, but was proud of her son's achievements. Xiaohu, Auntie. Just then, Xia Wei, who was wearing casual clothes, walked in. Even though she was wearing casual clothes, she still looked hot. Zia Aoi, Sister Wei. Why are you here? Didn't you go to the company today? Zia who looked at Xiaowei who was walking over with a surprised look. I came to ask Auntie to go shopping. Why? Is the big boss going to deduct my salary? Xiaowei rolled her eyes at Su Wei. So I should go to the company every day, right? He dares. I'll teach him a lesson. Before Su Wei could say anything, Su's mother was the first to be unhappy. She stopped holding her son's hand and turned around to hold Xiaowei in her arms, like an old hen protecting her chicks. Su Wei looked like he wanted to cry but had no tears. Did I mean that? Mom, did I get it for free when I recharged my phone bill? Haha, Xiaowei smiled and made a face at Su Wei. Zia Aoi, wait for me to change clothes, okay, Auntie, no hurry. With that, Su's mother went upstairs to change clothes. Brother, don't be angry. I was just joking with you, Xiaowei walked to Su Wei and said with a smile. Remember this for now. I'll punish you when I'm free. Su Wei suddenly reached out and slapped Xiaowei on the butt, pretending to be vicious. Bah, brother, I know I'm wrong. Even Xiaowei, who is always bold, was frightened by Su Wei's sudden attack. She jumped away like a frightened rabbit and looked around. Fortunately, there was no one on the first floor at the moment. If she was seen, she might as well find a crack in the ground to hide. If apologies are useful, what's the point of family discipline? Su Wei showed a smile that you know what I mean, and walked towards Xiaowei, counting on his fingers. Ah, brother, you're bullying me. Xiaowei quickly retreated, but there was no panic in her eyes. Forget it. No one will come to save you even if you scream your throat out. Su Wei chased after her with a strange smile. Just then, a cough sounded, and Su's father came in from the backyard, holding a sweat towel in his hand, obviously going for morning exercise. Dad, Uncle, good morning. The two couldn't help blushing and hurriedly greeted each other. Zia Wei is here. Have you had breakfast? What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. Su's father looked at Xiaowei with a smile on his face, and ignored Su Wei who was standing beside him. Uncle, I made an appointment with Auntie to go shopping, and we'll go out to eat later, or, Uncle, come with us. Xiaowei shook her head, and then invited enthusiastically. No, you guys go. It's more quiet for me to stay at home. Su's father quickly refused, and then turned to Su Wei and said, Smelly boy, why are you still standing here? Go and make breakfast, okay? It's free for recharging 2 phone bills. Su Wei looked like crying but had no tears. Xiaowei left with Su's mother. Although the Shengwen sisters followed, Su Wei still notified Qianlong to send someone to follow them out. Su Wei prepared breakfast quickly. He called Old Man Su and Father Su to eat and chat about family matters. No one mentioned the trip to Ximen again. It was so calm that it seemed as if nothing had happened. After breakfast, Old Man Su went to Xianhu Garden to play chess and boxing as usual. Father Su went to the study to read. In his words, he had been dealing with the fields for the first half of his life, and he should recharge himself in the second half of his life and try not to bring shame to his son. Su Wei was worried about Liu Min, so he took out his phone and called Qianlong again. Go find Xiao Jun. Yes, boss. When he went out, Qianlong was already waiting at the door in his car. As soon as Su Wei got in the car sped away. It went straight to Binjiang community in the northern district of Huizhou City. Liu Min's family lived there. After parking the car in the parking space outside the community, the two walked in. Xiao Jun rented a house here, and he could just see Liu Min's house opposite. Qianlong took Su Wei upstairs and knocked rhythmically on the door of room 603. The door was soon opened from the inside. Boss, Brother Long. The person who opened the door was a young man in his 30s with a round face and a crew cut. He is Xiao Jun, and that is his partner Hong Xianan. After entering the room, Qianlong introduced them to Su Wei. In addition to Xiao Jun, there was also a tall and thin man in his 30s standing by the window. Hello, thank you for your hard work these days. Su Wei reached out and shook hands with Xiao Jun. It's not hard, boss. This is much more enjoyable than the previous field investigation. Xiao Jun reached out and touched the back of his head with a smile. Has the target been abnormal these days? Su Wei smiled and went straight to the point. Nothing, basically daily operations. Xiao Jun took out a record from the table and handed it to Su Wei. It recorded everything he observed, including what time Liu Min went out every day, where she went, and who she met. All were recorded one by one. It really is professional. Su Wei flipped through the records, reading 10 lines at a glance. With his enhanced nerve reaction, he basically memorized everything after flipping through them. As Xiao Jun said, there was nothing special. The only difference was that he was not as active as before, and he seemed to be a little reclusive. But it was normal to be a little restrained when faced with a big change. Seeing that Su Wei just flipped through the records casually and put them down, Xiao Jun showed a slight disappointment in his eyes, not knowing that Su Wei had really read them all. In the records last night, what was the quarrel between Liu Min and the waiter at the leisure bar outside the community about? Su Wei sat down on the chair and asked. This is what he saw in the record book. But it only said that they quarreled over trivial matters, without writing the specific reasons. Xiao Jun was stunned. He saw that Su Wei just flipped through it casually, but he didn't expect that he actually remembered the content. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found this little abnormality in the stereotyped records. Sure enough, he is very hidden. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.